welcome to Clash Masters! It is the second season of this wonderful tournament in Clash of Clans esports, and we've got a $20,000 prize pool to hand out for this season. Big chunk of that's coming out today, as well as points for our seasonal finals. My name's Woody, and I'm pleased to be joined in co-casting today by Lady B. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well, and you might have noticed I've got a nice little guest joining me today as well, Bruce the Bear.
Who's that big guy?
So we've got Bruce the Bear from Brawl Stars, who's going to be taking a look at all the Clash action going on today, and I think he's very excited.
Yeah, I think you should be a little bit worried, though. It looks like he's sneaking up right behind you. Make sure he doesn't try to pounce at any point. Maybe you can toss the log off there. So you got one of those as well. That's for a little bit of protection. But we have got a little bit of a shaped up ship already. In fact, this is the second week of Clash Masters. And so we have some catching up to do. Talk a little bit about the format, discuss the point structure, talk about which teams are already in the lead. So why don't we kick that off with our format for the show today?
Yeah, let's take a look. We have lots of action that kicks through with Clash Masters. 4 weeks of competition that teams can qualify to play every week in it, but they've got to work hard to get into those spots. There are 3 match days each of those weeks, and the top 8 teams are the ones that are going to be earning those points, and they need to rack up those points because at the end of this, the top 4 teams are those that are going to receive the invite into the playoffs. So you really got to work hard up here. It's not like a one and you're done. There is a lot of action and a lot of hard-hitting clans to go after, which we're going to get to see a lot of those today, Woody.
Oh, yes, we will. 4 wars today. And each one of them potentially really big results coming out of them. You know, we've got so many points on the line, and advancement to the end of the day is so crucial. Let's take a look at what is up for grabs, though, in terms of prizing. Each qualifier week has got $1,500 available for first place, $750 for our finalists, and even down into the quarterfinals, they'll be getting a very big prize to go home with. Playoffs, of course, is where it all comes down to at the very end. Opportunities abound for a $5,000 first place prize.
That's quite some bank that these teams will be earning. And it's nice to see that they're going to be rewarded for all of their hard work, especially week after week. So a nice way not only to rack up those points, but to rack up the big prizes.
Well, why don't we go ahead and look at the bracket right now and see the teams that are competing. I think you all are going to be extremely impressed. Look at this stacked lineup. Space Station Gaming versus Alternate Attacks for the first round. Then we've got QSFN and Hagura Metal, NY Amazing and Tompanai Empire, then Nishang Dance and Carnage Gaming. World's qualified teams, the best of the best. I don't think I could set a bracket that could be more terrifying and exciting than this one, Lady B.
Oh, we're actually seeing somewhat of the World Championship Finals lineup in that mix. So this is really impressive. And I think this is what we were looking to see last week, though we were caught off guard and pretty surprised in a good way, seeing some teams that we didn't know coming in with amazing attacks. But these are our old favorites that we want to see. Space Station Gaming versus ATN, and we've got Agent 33 kicking it off for SSG. Now, they've not managed to get their chance until the World Championship Finals, but they are certainly worthy of a position like that. So let's see what kind of fight they're going to put up against ATN today. Starting this off with the Hero Dive Lalo. Royal Champ working beautifully into the scattershot compartment, assisted by the King to actually provide that additional tank for her to make sure that he can clean out this compartment.
Yeah, this is a hot and heavy start for Agent 33, diving in on opposite compartments here. Really going to have plenty of time at the end. The challenge with this sort of entry point is to make sure that you've got your attention fairly divided. Archer Queen is unfortunately about to get burnt up to a single target Inferno, and that's going to result in, fortunately, those pups will be able to go down to the poison since they were attracted onto the Unicorn there. But sacrifice early on there. I think maybe Agent 33 could have hoped that they had gone for that Dark Elixir storage up top and not getting burned up so fast. But nonetheless, here comes the Laloon. We've even got an Ice Hound in the mix here to put the freeze on this right compartment. It's going to pop off there and maybe try to get this Royal Champion down soon after.
And it does mean he can spare these freezes a little bit deeper through into the base. The only unfortunate thing is that the Royal Champ and the King were not able to take down the Air Sweeper inside. So a little bit of resistance here, forcing some issues, but he handled it well with the scatter shot. It's just about getting through the core. This pathing is never necessarily ideal, but the Warden's ability really helps out. Just coming into the back end multi really hurts. And even though he has a heal, he's struggling on power and force and remaining loons to finish a job.
He might just barely have this, though. I see a couple of air targeting defenses over on the backside, the Archer Towers. He's still in it. That's a lot of loons that are stacked up, and they're going to be taking splash damage from this Wizard Tower. Pups out the back, get the finishing shot, but there's only, I think, one loon left. This is going to be a terrifying finish here for Agent 33, hoping beyond hope that he can make it all the way back to the end with just pups and minions. A Grand Warden to keep them topped off. One more Wizard Tower, though, and he's going to be popping off against this big army. Can they finish it off with 30 seconds left? Not many defenses, but not many attackers either.
It's paid off to have these ice pups because you can see the damage that they do. They not only throw the damage at the defenses, but they partially freeze it up as they go, which is actually given the opportunity for Agent to come in and try and turn what was looking into a 2-star to potentially come into that 3-star. We got a clutch minion at the top taking down the army camp, giving the pups and the Warden everything they need to drop that 3-star. My goodness, that's like, you can't hope for that. And to be able to turn that around was exceptional work from Agent 33.
Right, you are, Lady B. I'm just sitting here like cheering them on at the very end. I always like to identify with the attackers in that sort of moment because you know how close it is, how razor thin that margin of victory when they've just got like seconds left. You can count them on your hands, but hoping beyond hope that they are able to finish it off. They were in that case, and that's going to be a huge pickup for Space Station Gaming right out of the gate. The fact that it was so tight makes me wonder if Space Station might have felt a little overconfident about that strike. Nonetheless, 3 stars is 3 stars, so they can breathe a sigh of relief out of the first one here, and it's going to be back to alternate attacks to try to get things tied up. Alternate attacks, of course, as our reigning world champions, and the first squad to get a golden ticket this year earlier on in the Clash of Clans World Championship esports event is certainly the most fearsome foe that you can go up against, but they haven't always had success in Clash Masters and having to advance into the last chance qualifier in the previous season. They did nonetheless get the championship title, but it has not been a cakewalk for them.
It hasn't, and we didn't even get to see them in last week. They were taken down fairly early within last week's matchups, but Yo-Yo looking, this is more of, they've got a little bit of rivalry going on between these two teams. They want to take each other down, and I think that's what's going to be the most amount of pressure on these two teams is to actually perform against each other, not even with the Clash Masters name in it. This is personal to them. So Yo-Yo has the opportunity to try and keep this tied up. And we have seen some perfect wars coming in this week so far from ATN. Let's see if they can actually do the same sort of thing. Queen working her way along. This is a nice push in deep towards a town hall compartment, and she's got easy access to work her way around the walls and even just reach over to take down the town hall. We just want to see her bypassing the poison bomb so we can get more value out of her, particularly those healers.
Yeah, but boy, is she working a lot of magic in the center. Those healers keeping her barely topped off with a Rage spell to help out. But now that the Giga Inferno is down, it's just those point defenses on the backside. Fortunately for her, that scatter shot a bit distracted by... Oh no! The Lava Pups still wasn't willing to commit that final Rage spell in there. And that's going to leave a multi-target Inferno up in that left side compartment. Big scatter shot still remains as well. And without the Stone Slammer to take it down, those loons could be in for a hell of a time. We're going to get that Eternal Tome popped, but there's not enough firepower on the outer edge to take down the scatter shot in time. This is going to be some incredible splash damage on Yo-Yo's forces.
Yeah, it has to drop that freeze spell. He does get a nice split, but is he going to get the push coming into the scatter shot? Not enough. One drag rider that looked like it was going that way, and it does not work out. This is exactly why Yo-Yo wanted a little bit more value out of his queen. You know, I'm not surprised that he didn't invest the rage on it because he thought he could get more value out of the loons with it rather than a queen that was already dying, not having the ability to carry her through. But 32 seconds left to go. The Drag Rider on his last leg here, trying to take down the defenses, but is thwarted by the Wizard Tower. And it's a bit unfortunate because we don't have the Warden to help out with this. With the Electro Owl, there could be enough power, but there's certainly not enough time to get through all of these storages.
Really unfortunate drop here for Yo-Yo, especially with an out-of-the-gate 3-star from Space Station. They do pick up quite a bit in percentage, though. 2-star 92% leaves them within striking distance on a percentage race. But that is a really unfortunate start here for Alternate, picking up a 2-star on their very first hit. Most often, the teams that are advancing are 3-starring in their first 1, 2, or maybe even 3 strikes, and then finding a little bit of difficulty later on in the war. So that one miss here early on is going to put them way far behind, Lady B.
Yeah, this is, I think, a little bit of a tough situation to come out of. Even if it is a high percent, it's just that I can see Space Station Gaming just really coming in with a clean approach against them. They know that the pressure's on to perform, to eliminate them, to knock them out, and that is going to be their sole mission and focus. And when you see Space Station Gaming focused and, like, honed in, that's where you're going to see the best out of them. I would expect to see that, especially now with Nick coming up second. So not a lot of pressure on him. And we're not actually getting to see him do my favorite attacks that he does with the Lalos, but coming in with the the Inferno Drag Riders. So we're seeing him switch over to this a little bit more, which I think a lot of the viewers are surprised, but he has picked up a really good handle of using this meta.
Soaring straight through with a massive army spread out, though. These Inferno Dragons took a little bit of dip in their firepower with the longer charge-up time, but they are still getting lots of usage among some pros. In ideal circumstances, they can still get super value. We're going to see them knock down an air sweeper out here. The left side Inferno Dragons are just going to be languishing in poison and death. But nonetheless, this right side has still got a pretty impressive force. They're just popping one by one, though, and even with a Dragon Rider out in front to target onto those defenses, that scatter shot, and especially the enemy Archer Queen, are going to prove too much to handle, I think. Nick is going to leave us with a big question mark at the end as to what could have gone better with this attack, because as it's shaping up right now, still so much of the base remains, and it's really only heroes to try to finish it off.
Yeah, so this we do often see where the heroes are the ones to finish it off, but you don't want this much of the base left over. He does, however, have 2 Skelly spells to help for some distraction here, opting to go for that multi and the Wizard Tower, freezing it up, giving this a final fighting chance. With a Queen and Royal Champion ability, particularly because they have a reasonable amount of health, he's in a situation that he can turn this one over, but it's just good spell usage that really keeps it going strong. Biggest problem now in the... Biggest problem is we never took care of the CC from the start, and this gives the full distraction option that these defenses can actually pick off the heroes while they try and take down the Hound. This is unfortunate for Nick. Queen, even with her ability, is not going to be enough to power through the Expo and the Warden Tower.
Regrettable finish here for Nick. He had lots of time on the board, though. Just really applied so much pressure early on and needs to get a crucial strike finished off if he's going to be able to be in the lead with that. Still just a 2-star 82% now is going to drop that Space Station total now down below where Alternate Attacks is at. So a triple from ATN now will take the lead.
Yeah, ATN has the pressure applied, but that's also where they work their best. You know, that's really unfortunate because we saw such a nice approach from Nick. To fall a little bit short could put them in a tough position. So we're aiming maybe for a 14 to 14 star war, which we have seen from both of these teams coming through between today's matches and even yesterday's matches. And there were some really well fought ones. Actually, Woody, I don't know if you know, but we did have Shark Assassin in the mix-up. That I believe it was Space Station Gaming that had actually taken them down, who we recently saw in the World Championship qualifiers.
Yeah, I believe you're right about that. You know, Shark Assassin, up-and-coming squad that I hadn't expected to see. A new team that nonetheless did pretty dang well. in the World Finals. Didn't get to advance on and were knocked out early, but just being in the top 6 there, just making it through that grueling bracket run through the in-game Clan War Leagues and then onto the top impressed me. We did wind up seeing Vatang advance on, and they were the 6th seed this past week, so the fact that Shark Assassin were ranked above them really indicates the strength of that team. But yeah, Space Station being able to get the pickup over them says that they are ascendant. Once again, this is a squad that has done really well in Clash Masters, having picked up the win in the past, and finding another opportunity now to try to summit that big hill, defeating alternate attacks. It's never an easy one, though, Lady B.
No, certainly not. You know, especially with what we're seeing, is a lot of versatility from many teams, especially since we have Hogs back in the mix. We're seeing just, you know, a lot of teams being able to capitalize off of the variety of meta we have going in the game. Now, Boom coming in, and I don't want to say taking advantage of the meta, but a little bit, because we see him coming in with Drag Riders, and he is also a very versatile attacker. We, of course, know him for his lalos, but we do get to see him coming in quite a bit with some ground attacks, smashes, and now, of course, these Drag Riders. And the Queen with a nice direct target leading towards that Town Hall, though we do have the blimp in place as well. This is where I always like to see what the players choose to go for, because we're seeing a lot more of these blimps actually picking up some great value in the core of the bases, where it can be a little bit harder to push the Queen and just allow her to take on the Town Hall compartment. But equally, we can just kind of swap that one around and just really utilize the most out of both of those. The Queen charge and the, has to force that ability. I'm keeping an eye on the Queen. Ooh, and he recovers it. So, looks like the blimp is going to sail right through for that scatter shot.
Yeah, the blimp long bomb and the log launcher long bomb are two of my favorite starting strats with Siege Machines. Can really get super value. Oh, he missed the Eternal Tome on the blimp, though. That is going to be really troublesome. It's going to pop in the middle, though. Does grab that scatter, and just like you mentioned, is going to get some good value after all. I was thinking maybe he was going to try to get the Eternal Tome off, but maybe this was all according to plan nonetheless. Did get the Eternal Tome a little bit late for that, but we'll have the Town Hall with this Queen. As long as she can get her... No, she didn't have the ability! Is the Town Hall going to stand?
Oh, no. And there's no backup. There is zero backup to come in for this one. One Drag Rider gets knocked down, making that approach there. This is a long push for the Warden and the remaining Drag Riders to work their way through. That early use of the Royal Champion dying out really hurts this. And again, the Queen ability having to be forced so early in this one, not making the full pass to the Town Hall, is going to put Boom in the 1-star position. I don't know that I could see the Warden actually getting this done. Definitely not with only 30 seconds left on the clock.
Heart-wrenching finish for Boom. A 1-star for alternate attacks when they needed the triple the most to pull back ahead. This is exactly what Space Station were hoping for. Lex Knows on defense will really frustrate this incredibly powerful attacker in Boom. 87% and almost all the way back to the outer edge. But the commit with that battle blimp into the center and the early use of the Archer Queen ability up top prevented him from having anything that could have taken down the Town Hall for that 2nd star. Just it seemed like a good plan. Was there an execution problem there, Lady B?
I think that's the problem, is just the section he came in from. The Queen was taking on too much damage, and he was solely relying on that Queen to take down the Town Hall. There was no plan B. There was no backup in this option. That blimp was clear cut for the center of the base. So with how he was executing it, he needed to get that in at the same time as the Drag Riders. I think he just relied on a little bit too much for the Queen, and it was heavily defended. So kudos to Space Station Gaming for being able to hold off Boom on an entry like that. It's definitely impressive. I'm trying to think if there's any way for him to recover that one. The Queen was stuck in a bad position, and he had to force the ability. He had no other option. So it's just kind of a tough draw on the plan. Left it a little bit too risky, and giving now Space Station Gaming a huge advantage where they could have capitalized off of it. And Marinol coming in true Marinol fashion. We've been seeing him using a lot more of these Zap Quakes. And along with the Lalo, which he's superb at, clearing out some nice passage. We take down the scatter shot, just one of the two, and start opening up the push towards a town hall. So we can get a lot of value out of these heroes, especially when we use them together. He just needs to be mindful, you know, that queen. We need to make sure that we secure taking down the town hall. And already clearing the pass with the sneaky goblins just to give her a little bit easier access.
Big chunk taken out of the space with that early strike here. Even holding on to a stone slammer for the later end here. Marinol has always got a big plan in mind for his attacks on these bases. He often is coming in later on in the war, so just the midsection here as the third attacker now. He must have really had a good mind as to what he intended to do for this space station strike. They are ahead now on stars and looking to push way, way far ahead. Even further now with a triple. They would be so far out of reach that I don't think alternate attacks would have any hopes to come back.
No, it would not be easy, that's for sure. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but they would be relying heavily on having more defenses coming through. The fact that they have the 2-star does help, but I think this is going to be a huge confidence boost for Space Station Gaming to move their way along. If they had any concerns about trying to take over ATN, they should definitely be reassured at this point. This is such a beautiful Lalo push as well. You can see the value of the Stone Slammer taking the lead. These Stone Slammers are such a great option for Lalos because they serve as just an additional hound with the tank they can offer, especially when they cut through the core of the base like this, picking up those traps, soaking up everything, and then opening up some additional push with the troops.
1 minute left for cleanup, and it's looking like a snack. Marinol does have to face off against that single target Inferno in the center. I'm not thinking that the Dragon Rider's going to be able to... Oh, can it take it down? No, not quite. All right, but that's still a big balloon army to be able to swarm and finish that off. It's the final defense, so they're going to make a beeline right away. Too bad that Grand Warden is right out in front, but oh, he gets a few shots off himself, and with the Electro Owl, that's going to be the finishing blow. They'll path back out for the cleanup. 30 seconds left, and it's a bit dicey with that CC in the center, but I think that the flight of the Lava Pups is going to be decisive here. Getting that 3-star. Space Station are doing wonderfully so far. Not quite perfect, and that is what we would have to expect against alternate attacks, but with a slip-up by their opponents, holding on strong with both defense and offense. This is a confident, firm lead for Space Station Gaming.
It really is. They're in a good spot right now to continue that momentum over ATN. That 1-star really has hurt. And, you know, I mentioned it. It's not the end of the world, but ATN would really need to see some solid defenses coming through the mix starting now. And they not only need to do that, but they need to follow up with the 3-stars straight to the end of this war. And, you know, when you hit that 1-star for many teams, you can lose a little bit of motivation to try and carry forward. But, you know, ATN being the world championship team, I don't think that's the case. I just think it's a lot harder to know if they're going to have brought the right defenses against Space Station.
Yeah, I think that they probably have seen the writing on the wall by this point. They're going to still give it their all, just as we'd expect. But, yeah, I mean, triples across the board from ATN now. Still is just going to get them up to 12 stars total. Very light offense relative to an opponent who could potentially put up 14. So, yeah, you need full-on, complete, victorious success on offense and a complete shutdown on defense. Very unlikely to see that when your opponent, especially when your opponents know that 2 stars are going to be sufficient for them to get the victory.
Absolutely. Now we do have Volla, who wants to try and see if they can turn this around. You know, I think at this point you just can't lose hope. You have to keep pressing forward and trust in the process. Trust in the defenses that they bring, because they do have some of the best base builders around. You know, I still think it could happen. I'm not counting it out yet. I have seen more miraculous returns, including from Tomp and I in ESL Mobile Open. But we do have Volla with a beautiful lead-in with the King. Nice to see the Wall Wrecker back in action. We're seeing it a little bit more and more, just opening up the pathway, and it provides a great tank as well. And the opportunity for the Queen here is amazing. We've got the Ice Golems to tank and giving her easy access to that Town Hall without having to invest quite so much.
Volla's going to get the shot off here, and the Town Hall will go down. Double Lava Hound, 26 loons to back it up, and knocking apart those air defenses early on has really given him a great lead in. Sends in a balloon, and I guess it's just kind of minesweeping at this point. Oh no, there were two of them there. Cracks in and takes down that archer tower. There might even be three. Wow, he really stacked them on up tightly there. Volley's going to get the first pop on this air defense up the top side, and the second Lava Hound's going to path all the way through this base. Just hope that the haste spell can keep these loons on track long enough to get value in the interior, as this poor Lava Hound is just getting ripped apart. He's going to pop pretty soon, and Volley needs to get this multi down as quickly as possible. He's got a freeze, but hasn't used it quite yet. Eternal Tome for protection, but my, in the center is a tornado trap and so many red bombs. Those poor loons are taking a walloping.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see, but they were mostly protected under the Eternal Tome for a bit while they suffered that and are able to actually come out unscathed through most of it. And the one thing that Volla does is he holds on to these extra loons, knowing that he's going to need a little extra support coming in for the back end, helping with those defenses. And this is why we get to see tons of loons coming through. He's handled these perfectly, including with the timing of the Warden ability to keep those loons powered across the multi, taking on limited damage, particularly from anything spreading out and splash. And this is a hammer down 3-star that Volla is going to look to motivate his team to try and get back in it. It's going to be an uphill battle. I know that. I know that you don't have the confidence in ATN on this one, but I think if anybody can do it and turn this around, it would be ATN.
Well, of course. I mean, they're the best team in the world, according to the World Finals performance from the prior year. But has that held up? Can they get consistent finishes? It's not looking likely this time. They've scored lots of points for this Clash Masters series, but this is looking like the end of it to me, Lady B. I might have lost hope. Have you as well, or do you think that ATN have some miraculous out here that I haven't noticed?
I don't know. I trust in defense. We have seen some amazing defenses coming through. I don't think it's going to be very likely, but I do think it is an option. I wouldn't hold my breath on it, but it could happen. I wouldn't count it out, and it wouldn't shock me if we saw something miraculous defensively coming in. But, that's how I like to think about these wars. We have seen this happen. We have seen last-minute attacks that come through, land in the 1-star, when all you really need to do is go about the safe 2-star. So that's really going to depend also on Space Station Gaming and how they are looking at these bases and how careful they want to be in their approaches. Now, Gereticus. I haven't seen Gereticus in a little bit of time with Space Station Gaming. We've seen them rotate the roster around, but he is doing fabulous work for them. We did see him during the qualifiers in past, and coming in with the Zapquake Lalo. Now, eliminating the center of the base, we take down the potential pathing towards that core for the loons, which is ideal because we don't want to have to come into those traps, and also take down the Inferno, which is also going to help these loons quite a bit. But nice, quick push coming in with the blimp. We've got a long drive, so I'm assuming Yeti, yep, raged up. Yeti comes in to take on that single, but we still have to take down this town hall.
It's going to take a long time to get there. 40 seconds. And it's a pretty light poke so far from Gereticus. Big strike into the bottom corner and setting up for a triple Lava Hound. That is going to be a large and heavy finish. Gereticus will get an additional strike out on this left corner with the Queen Sui dive here. Just a little unicorn to help her out. Seeing that Lava Hound out already and willing to pop that poison to help with those pups, as well as Barbarian King to tank on the entry point here. He's going to get some additional value, cracking into another compartment along the top side. Might this be a Headhunter dive to try to finish off that Royal Champion in there?
Yeah, any
assist those for the Archer Queen instead. Yeah.
He's going to have to hold those for the Archer Queen. I mean, the King's got the power to help take down this Royal Champion while the Queen just works through taking on the Town Hall. So these 3 Headhunters are really going to help working through the Warden ability to get to that Queen. And also give the timing properly so that these loons can be a little bit more safe coming through with a little bit of fire coming from that scatter shot as well.
Well, the raining down of those Eagle artillery shots is not going to get very much value. Not much clumping in Gereticus' army, and that's good news for him. He's going to pop the Eternal Tome almost a little bit late, it seems like to me, but those balloons do get protected from lots of splash damage, and he manages to nab those Lava Hounds up top as well. One pops, and Unfortunately, those pups are going down awfully fast to a multi-inferno, but this is still a gigantic loon army and only really has to deal with a multi on the back end. That air defense might even go down to these pups now, popping on out. Oh, actually, they got evaporated once again by the multi, and this is shaping up to be a very tight finish. Can't quite finish off that multi. It is going to be Gereticus falling now on this attack by Space Station.
Yeah, that air defense really helping out. The multi having obviously the opportunity, the reach to pick off those loons, but the air defense just sealing the deal on this one. And it was a little bit of an unfortunate path for the headhunters that took their first bypass towards a defending BK rather than the queen. So we saw a little bit of a struggle as she worked through, but the minions and pups actually really helped to secure taking her down. But this does mean that for Gereticus, they're giving ATN a little bit more opportunity to try and get closer because there were only 2 stars behind. So these 2 defenses, 3 stars could amount to something for ATN, but it depends on the percentage that we see coming in also with any of the defenses.
All right, well, we are once again back at the starting board here. Space Station far in the lead and alternate attacks trying to catch back up, but like we said earlier, if it's going to happen, it's going to be double defenses for alternate and double triples on their attacks. We are now at a 4-star gap with just 2 attacks left for alternate. So the triple here and the triple to follow up does give them that 12-star hope, that impossible dream. They're still down a little bit on percentage, but it's narrowing up quite quickly. And if they do get the triples, they ought to be able to surpass on percentage. It would be really a high percentage 2-star from Space Station to stay ahead on that race overall. So we'll give Sir Iron the benefit of the doubt. He's going to charge in on this left corner with everything he's got. It's an Archer Queen to get the knockdown of this multi-target Inferno and set up for a big Pekka smash. Long bomb log launcher against so many walls is another really good sign for me that Sir Iron's got a fantastic plan.
Yeah, I'm surprised we're seeing Sir Iron. I was expecting to see the 5er lineup. Sir Iron, of course, one of their base builders for ATN. And I love to see him come in with hybrids, opting to go with one of the most used ground attacks with the Super Pekka Smash and using the Queen actually to start this off because we've got a lot of incoming damage. And this also actually speeds up the approach. With the Warden, we can see it becoming very time consuming and often, more times than not, leading into a time fail. So this really does help speed up the attack, but also allow the Queen to take on all of that incoming damage so we can reserve the Warden ability and not have to force it too early.
Sir Iron with a large entry point and a well-protected Queen for this charge to join up with the Pekka Smash now is going to get the log launcher rolling. Look at the aim for that log launcher. It's going to roll over that gigantic compartment in the interior, potentially knocking down all of those walls right above the Archer Queen. CC's going to get the pull out, and oh, it's Rocket Loons. That's going to be a quick response from Sir Iron to be able to handle those. They're getting lots of drops in here, and it's the protection with the Eternal Tome by the Grand Warden to keep them safe. Big burn up from the multi-target Infernos, but those walls come crashing down safely on the far end. The log launcher rolls all the way through, and that jump spell won't even be necessary. Easy access as Sir Iron has kicked the door down and is ready to breach for the final strike.
And coming in, we have these Yetis. They got upgraded a level, which is going to provide extra power coming in for the back end, particularly now that we have this mini Tesla farm here to contend with. He's doing fine on time, and I don't even know if the Yetis were needed, considering the Queen still has her ability. The Royal Champ is alive and well with her ability intact, and we've got a Rage, an invisibility spell, and a freeze. Sir Iron coming in, giving ATN a little bit more momentum to move along, but I've got to question what they have defensively. Being one of their base builders, this is coming in super clutch for ATN offensively, but he's got to produce defensively now as well with this follow-up.
What a tight show here for us today. Congratulations to Sir Iron, getting alternate attacks that little leg up, that tiny bit of hope, emerging into maybe a small bit of hope, breaking out and shining forth into possibly the turnaround win despite a 1-star earlier on. They are now just within striking distance of Space Station Gaming. If they pick up that epic 2-star defense and back it up with the triple, It's going back to them after all, Lady B, but Space Station know what is up ahead of them. They know that they can't just go for a reliable, safe 2-star finish. They do have to actually go for that big long bomb 3-star, but a 3-star does clinch it. Up to 13, that would put them out of reach to alternate attacks, and so hopefully you would assume that Lex Knows, the final striker here, has had lots of time to prepare and get ready his army. Can he pull it off? That's the question ahead of us. I think that Lex Knows had a bit more trouble in prior Clash Masters events. Doesn't always get the clutch in the end, but when he does find a base that he likes, he has been able to pull it off. That's what got Space Station victory in our first Clash Masters qualifier, and so we expect to see that potentially coming back again when it matters most, though. Will the jitters get to him, or will he be able to power through?
You know, for Lex Knows, he's typically in this position anyway. We've seen Space Station Gaming just switching up their rotation slightly, but more often than not, Lex is in the final spot. And yeah, he doesn't always get it, but against a team like ATN where they know them so well, they kind of know what to expect. I wouldn't see it being too much pressure for Lex Knows. And I will say, I'm very glad for him that I don't see the log launcher selected, because that seems to always be the riskiest approach in a final attack with the Queen Charge log launcher drag rider, where it can wind up turning into a 1-star very easily. But my assumption here is we're going for a fairly safe approach, ensuring that the Town Hall goes down and then providing the pure power for these drag riders to work through.
Big Rage on the outer edge and ready to continue that charge into the center, get the CC pull as well. And as we got super minions in there, only one poison spell brought, and that's going to have to be dropped a little bit further back. A nice freeze, though, to help shut down the troops out in front. That Rocket Loon could have done massive damage, so keeping them in that poison spell and away from this Archer Queen was crucial. Good heads-up play here to Lex Knows. He is on top of the game right now. Gets the shots off against the Expo, taking that down. And even though this Queen's going to get tossed around a little bit by the Tornado Trap, not going to be enough to shut her off. That big rage spell on the healers, still able to keep her topped against a Barbarian King charging forth and trying to defend this base, but no dice. Lex Knows gets another few shots off, and that multi-target Inferno is not going to be too much to handle. Big red bombs do strike the healers, and that's not great news for him, but it... Oh my goodness! Even more damage on the back end. Those 4 healers obliterated now.
Ooh, I think he wanted this king to go in for the Town Hall. Now, yes, the queen's worked her way through, but that king, if he worked for the Town Hall compartment, could have actually forced the queen into the multi, narrowed out the path for the drag riders. I could be wrong on that, but I think that would have been some superb value for him. And this means that the queen does not actually survive, so he's really relying on these drag riders to be there for the tail end of this raid. But at very least, he has a Stone Slammer option. This provides a lot of tank, a lot of power, especially since we've got the freeze and invisibility spell to hold this one on. You know what? Who needs a queen when you've got a Stone Slammer coming in like this for a huge drive and push through? Lex Knows coming in with the much needed 3-star to topple ATN in this final match for them.
Congratulations, Lex Knows. That is exactly what we wanted to see. The 2-star high percentage ought to be able to put them over, but this is so much of an overwhelming victory, even tossing out that swag spell at the end to send a clear and decisive message. Space Station is here to stay, and the best hopes of alternate attacks have now withered away.
Oh, you know, you got to feel the pain for ATN right now, knowing that that one small mistake, not having any sort of backup plan for the Town Hall, has cost them the position of moving forward this week. It's not going to be over for ATN, because they will have next week as well in the last chance qualifiers. But, you know, they're not going to be able to make it through with those high points. They want to start getting racked up on the points, move their way up. And I'm trying to remember, and I don't know if you know off the top of your head, Woody, but Space Station Gaming get some easy points in week 1?
I do believe that they did. I won't call them easy points, but I think that they are doing quite well right now. Up on the points board here, yeah, and being able to pick up that victory, they are definitely in a strong position now, and they might even have guaranteed their advancement. We'll take a look back at the point board later and confirm their spot, but I think that now with this advancement, 15 points out of the second qualifier, and even more points going up now, from a first place positioning right alongside NGT Legends, I think that they are going to be confidently squared away to go on to the playoffs.
Yeah, now we have a nice opening here. Still have easy access to get to the scatter shot on the bottom. It's, ATN knows this attack doesn't matter. This is going to be for honor and glory and finishing up strong. Just getting that star countdown. But let's see what he can do here. We do have the Royal Champion sneaking her way in along with the King. Baby Drag to funnel this up, and Yeti starting off the pass to lead that Queen in towards the Town Hall as well.
First minute is down and out. Royal Champion is going to get another quick stab here at the bottom corner, throwing away that spear and trying her best to keep the Barbarian King out in front for a little bit more protection. She still holds that ability, and this is going to be some pretty solid value on the bottom compartment, helping out to make a big dent so that this Queen dive can topple that Town Hall. Bit of a slow start here for Ast, though. But we have seen these Lava Loon strikes go really quickly in the end, especially with 3 haste spells and well protected with a quad freeze. This is going to be a force of nature from Ast to shut down the entirety of the bottom and right corners of this base, and just having to worry now about that Archer Queen in the center popping off the pups and giving a little bit of trouble here. Didn't see Headhunters now, and they finally make their way in, but Queen goes down, and Eternal Tome from the Grand Warden to protect these balloons on the path toward the back end. They've got a long way left to go. 1 haste and 1 freeze left to commit. Is he going to pop it off on a multi in the back? No, he's going to actually use it for this air defense and Wizard Tower in the compartment before.
Yeah, this is a beautiful push with the Lalo. Nice converging together into the back end. Yes, we have the multi to worry about, but he's got so many loons to swarm it that it is not an issue. Again, unfortunate for ATN to be in the position where the 1-star is costing them this potential match, but still well played. And I got to give a huge kudos to Space Station Gaming for their performance today. Definitely coming in with a strong push, and I could see them dominating now after this. It's going to put them in a really solid position, taking down the 2020 World Champions.
Yeah, ever so narrow of a victory. At the end, though, Space Station Gaming victorious are going to have just a little tiny narrow edge of the 1-star, and I think it was, what was that, 0.2 percentage lead that they had. Here is the final score. No, actually, they lost the percentage lead in the end. Space Station just eking out the victory with that 1-star up on top and ensuring that alternate attacks, even with a strong showing on those 3 strikes, 3 stars that they missed out on, it was just really the 1-star that ultimately in the end is going to be their downfall.
Yeah, that's that's where it stings a little bit. But again, they know they're seasoned veterans. They know that any small mistake could really cost you in a war, especially when you're going up against a team like Space Station Gaming, who is just on par on that same level. And they know how to build against each other. They know what to look for. And that's where Space Station Gaming came in strong today. Plus, just perfection. They really handled most of those attacks where we saw a few things going wrong. They handled them perfectly to get them back in rain and pick up those 3 stars.
Well, very happy to see them be able to get this win over alternate attacks. It is a tough drive, but Space Station have had so much success in the past with Clash Masters. Like I mentioned earlier, they were tied for first place right there alongside NGT Legends, holding 15 points out of their victory from Qualifier 1. So with this advancement in Qualifier 3 now, they'll be able to pick up at least another 8 in the top 4, and potentially even more than that. If they get another victory on top, they could secure first place seeding. I do not see NGT Legends in the lineup now, so their biggest foe that could have tried to topple them is out of the running. It's just going to be QSFN, their next potential opponents, if they are victorious over Hagura Metal, that could try to shut them out. Hagura Metal are 2 points behind QSFN on the leaderboard, but both of them within striking distance of Space Station. So Space Station haven't guaranteed top seeding on the leaderboard, but I think that with this pickup, they are going to be very hard to eject from the playoffs. That positioning now very dominantly secured.
And it'll be interesting to see who they'll be facing off against tomorrow. We'll get to see that in the next matchup, QSFN or Hagura Metal. But I think both would be a bit of a tough push. We saw some beautiful work from Hagura Metal last week, but equally, QSFN is a team that you cannot let catch you off guard. I've seen them through the Northern Arena Clash Championship, and more times than not, they were so close to taking down every single team. Like, they just kept going head to head and losing on a fraction of percentage. But they've had a much stronger year towards the back end, and I think that's going to give them a little bit more of a confidence boost. So Space Station Gaming just will need to be ready for that. But it is going to be interesting to see in this next matchup who will get the win.
Yeah, it certainly will. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket now. We finished out with our first round of the day, Space Station getting the victory over Alternate Attacks. Next up, we're going to have QSFN versus Hagura Metal. This is an extremely important match for both of them. QSFN right there on the cusp of qualification with 12 points to their name, but just alongside Hagura Metal in 5th place, holding 10 points. They both will be picking up points because of their advancement now to the top 8. But whether or not they get the auto qual into the playoffs depends solely on the outcome of this upcoming match. Their performance week one was very, very good, but it is just going to be a nail biter to the end for these two to determine whether or not this is going to be the clincher or the heartbreaker that sends them packing and leaving their hopes open only for the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, but they still have that final opportunity at least, but this really is putting a lot in contention in just these first 2 matches that we get to see, which is very exciting. But we did see there's going to be some great epic action following. NY Amazing is going to be facing off against Hump and I Empire, Nishang Dance versus Carnage Gaming. So nice to see more teams coming into the mix that I don't think we actually saw Carnage Gaming in week 1. I know we definitely did not see them in week 2.
Yeah, haven't seen them around, and yet this is going to be an opportunity for them to get potentially 15 points this week. A huge upset just on the 3rd week coming straight on in could potentially get them with qualification, depending upon how the rest of the bracket shakes out. Space Station have guaranteed advancement, though. We got the word in from our production squad with that point pickup. They were already in 1st place and are going to be getting so many more that it's impossible to remove them from the top 4, but they haven't yet secured that number 1 spot. Seeding is extremely important in Clash Masters because it determines the shaping of the bracket for the playoffs at the end of the season, and so they definitely want to continue to fight for as many points as they can, as well as a bigger prize pool to claim at the end of our rounds today. So Space Station definitely advancing and in contention for the top spot here, while QSFN, Hagura Metal are both kind of vying for that positioning right here and now. It is all on the line for these 2 big teams.
It certainly is. So this puts a lot of pressure on just in the early stages of this, even with the first attack coming in, knowing that you're setting the tone for this war. 3-star, or you just really could open yourself up for the other team capitalizing, and Leo choosing to go in with the Hydra for this one, which we're seeing some success rate, but I can't say it's the most reliable attack strategy that we have in the mix-up. Now, a very wide path for these dragons is turning back in nice and closely knit together, working towards a multi, but we've got to be mindful of this town hall. We want it to go down fast. Sends in the blimp from the outer edge, which can tend to be a little bit risky, but able to actually push that along nicely. And what we want to see is the poison bomb go down, give the access to the dragons around it. We don't want them going through this poison bomb, which is typically why we try and time it early enough that the drags can completely bypass it. And for the most part, they have, though, that single still remains and is going to absolutely roast this Warden.
Tricky follow-up here, but wow, has Leo started off with a strong strike. Just in the first minute and a half, already taking the 2 stars and 84%. Dragons spread out all over the place, but that air defense on the back end is going to be way deadly for these dragons. That's going to have to mean that he's relying on the queen now, who's really only taking damage from the mortar. As long as this archer tower can tank a little bit longer, if she's out of range, it's not an impossibility here. She's already popped her ability, but she's getting a little bit of top off from the unicorn now. Can she stay safe enough far and away from the Inferno Tower that she can just go on in, drill hard, and try to grab the victory? Leo, with a hope and a prayer. Oh, no,
Yeah,
she's
not
right
out
in
of range. Yeah, and she's got the bypass around the outside of the wall. I mean, we can see what kind of health is on it. If there's not a lot, there is a lot,
Oh,
and it is just
no!
enough. If there was just like a small fraction of damage, Leo could have turned that one around. But man, the single doing everything in. I'm impressed that it got actually that close as it was. He really handled it exceedingly well. But the pathing for the dragons outside of that is really what hurt it. And I think just the coordination of the blimp and the timing really led to that demise.
Yeah, sad finish there for Leo. My heart goes out to him. 99% 2-star. Just as close as you could possibly hope to finish off there with still plenty of time left in the end. That is going to be a tough fall for QSFN in the early war here against Hagura Metal. QSFN, one of the strongest Brazilian teams now, having been formed after, as you know, our good friends from INTZ, particularly Marinol, joining other squads and kind of leaving this big juggernaut of a country with lots of amazing players to form a new team now. And with this lineup, QSFN advancing on in the World Finals and with a big spot here on the leaderboard, 2 points ahead of Hagura Metal. Good start, but not the confident lead they were definitely hoping for here, Lady B.
Yeah, you know, and with that split from INTZ, I mean, it was always great to watch INTZ as a team as a whole, but it's just led to the ability to watch more of these Brazilian powerhouses come into the mix because we're seeing more teams and more mixture within it, as you mentioned, with Marinol now in Space Station Gaming. But let's see what Hagura Metal can do. This 99, it's not ideal. You want the 3-star, but it could really put QSFN in a good position if they just hold one defense this match, because it'll be much harder to try and compare to. Now, Smith Pro coming in with the Zap Drag. So we're pathing our way around the Town Hall, getting the access leading into it. And we're also shaping up the funnel that we want for the dragons. Typically with drags, we want to see it narrowed out. For regular dragons, you can spread it out just a little bit further, about 12 tile space, but you do want them working in a nice long line together. So they're not only sending out the full damage together, but they're receiving it in, especially if there's any splash in the way.
Smith Pro with a huge dragon start here, leaving it all on the battlefield and not going to wait a single moment. Big, strong strike from Hagura Metal is exactly the sort of start that we've come to expect from them in the Eternal Tome. Well popped right on this entry point. This funneling is just glorious for him, able to take out that top corner and keeping a relatively tight spread for the dragons swooping along the bottom now. The interior is also well protected with a big stone slammer. Will it path down or is it going to go out? No, it looks like we got one dragon going out to the bomb tower there, but it is going to rejoin the rest of the forces along the bottom side and get that life aura once again from the Grand Warden. This is fantastic. He's even got the Grand Warden soaking shots from the Eagle Artillery, which goes down now. No splash damage on those dragons to worry about. This is going to be a tight finish here. He's got the Royal Champion up top to go get that air defense, and this might be the 3-star.
Yeah, not just the Royal Champ with her ability, but he's got an invisibility spell to help carry him through that scatter shot there. King actually taking focus for now, giving the dragons more opportunity to work their way across the Archer Tower and this Expo. And the biggest problem for them is coming up to these storages. This is why we see storages surrounding some big heavy damage items. But the fact that he's had the Royal Champion, he had to force the ability relatively early, which means she's not going to be there in the end to take down the scatter shot. And the Warden will not be enough to take this on. I blinked and missed where he used that Royal Champ ability. And I'm wondering if it was needed quite so early, because we really would have wanted to just try and keep it as close to getting this to the scattershot chamber as possible.
That is going to be a tough fall for Hagura Metal. With the opportunity to pull ahead on the lead out of the gate here, QSFN has nonetheless held on strong with their defenses. A big, clear and convincing defense on that right side compartment. Smith Pro trying to wrap around and doing a really great job on funneling, on timing for that Grand Warden ability, on soaking shots and preventing big splash damage. But at the end, you know, I guess I think that the execution was as good as it possibly really could have hoped to be for that attack. Maybe just we needed a different plan of entry.
You know, sometimes a lot of this has to do with the timing. The king was there to do some tanking, but maybe not enough health to carry it on. And again, that royal champion is ideally intended to get through the back end compartment. So you have to hang on to her ability as long as possible. And with the hopes of having that invisibility spell, you would think that you could get it through. But if you had had a freeze for that back end, just to hold off the scatter shot would have helped out the dragons just a little bit more and would have maybe given the royal champ a little extra life there.
All right, wish we could have seen it, but ultimately that is going to be the end of the hopes for our first attacker by Hagura Metal. A lead for QSFN, but it's not a convincing one yet. Just an 8% top off here. Nice little poke from Kaitano out on the bottom right corner. And ooh, some rocket loons. A little bit of spice stashed in there. Battle Blimp unprotected. Just going to soak on into this interior compartment now. Pops on out. And with the invis, it's a big old blizz. Shocking through this compartment and about to get the shots off potentially on the Archer Queen. But no. A giant bomb explodes right at the worst possible moment, and that's going to be 3 more invisibility spells that Kaitano will have to hold on to.
Yeah, so not getting the full value intended. Now, we do have easy access to get to the scatter shot here. We want to eliminate this queen, though we do have 2 headhunters. We're still going to need to contend with that royal champion up north. Now, the queen has some easy access to reach over these walls, and 2 ice golems to actually work her way in, but the main contention was to get this push towards the town hall and not have to burn through too many of their abilities. So the royal champ trying to take some cover from the king and queen, who are absorbing some of the damage coming in, but we did not get the full CC lure, so we still have to contend with these super minions and headhunters. Drops the poison down quick and is able to get the headhunters under control, and at least has wasted through the timing of those super minions ability.
This is a great charge into the Town Hall compartment here. Single target Inferno is going to burn up that Barbarian King, though, and I think that was a little bit late on the free spell. We get the pop out here with the Ice Golem, which I think Kaitano might have intended to be insulating for this Barbarian King charge, but nonetheless, the Town Hall does go down. First star is claimed, but it is a super late star for this Lava Hound coming in next. 3 haste spells, but I don't think that's going to be enough even to get the wraparound finish out here. Just 1 freeze and invis to try to protect them, but with an Eagle Artillery on the very back end, a centralized multi-target Inferno, a scatter shot starting to fire away. Eternal Tome comes out early and nice to protect, but I don't think that there's any chance that Kaitano's going to get the triple here.
No, unfortunately not able to take down that multi with the heroes and the loons. He sacrificed so much going into that multi-targeting Inferno just on the outskirts, which hasn't allowed the loons to have proper support coming into this. Even though the queen survived, she's not able to do much in this raid. And this is going to be a pretty disappointing 2-star for Kaitano, because the percent is going to be mighty low in this, where they were really trying to hold that lead percentage-wise, find the triple to connect. This could set them back quite a bit against Hagura Metal. We saw them coming in actually with a lot of fire last week, so I'd be a little bit worried giving them any sort of opportunity now.
Yeah, where did it go? Kaitano from QSFN with a 2-star, 78%, as an Eagle Artillery on the final compartment is just going to be way, way too much to handle. Both of the last 2 attacks, that right side compartment has been the last one to stand. I don't know if that's anything worth mentioning or seeing on the final side, but it seems like there's just too much difficulty funneling toward the outer edge of the base to get them all the way around to finish off that last edge. So is this just overconfidence on the part of the attackers? Are there surprises that are coming in from traps on the defenses that kind of stop them up early? It's really atypical to see quite a low middling 70% strike here from such a well-respected and successful clan.
Yeah, well, if the Blizzard had actually gotten the full opportunity in that, he would have gotten more power out of the heroes. You saw how much was invested with the loons, even the Hound initially, to get past the Town Hall compartment, and the heroes would have obliterated it with the 2 ice golems. That was their sole purpose. So the loons didn't have what they needed because he was compensating for what the Blizzard didn't get, what he had to use for the heroes, and that's where this really fell short. Now, Hagura Metal, again, huge opportunity here to capitalize off of not only the 2-star, but a very low percentage 2-star, which could really bump them up in things. And opting to go for the Super Pekka Smash. I always call this kind of like the old reliable. I feel like this is one of the attack strategies, particularly from ground, that a lot of teams have just learned to master and get used to handling, because we do see a lot of success rate with it, but time is the biggest option. So with the Warden, we've got to be focused on getting down the value we want, clearing out this compartment, setting up the funnel, and getting the troops in with no less than 2 minutes on the clock. And the Queen here to get that going and pull that Warden in for the main push.
Holding on to a couple of healers now, just going to keep them safe if they can from that air defense popping off and taking one healer down now. A second one is getting targeted, and Hagura Metal are really going to be sacrificing quite a bit on this entry point. Log Launcher rolling through is going to get great value, cracking through, what is that, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of walls, potentially going after the Town Hall. But with a CC pull out, it's going to be a lot of defensive firepower that they're going to have to power through here. Leo from QSFN has got a mighty setup in the interior. Lots of splash damage to fire away with, multi-target infernos, even got a wizard in action, but not super powerful against a Pekka smash approach. Hagura Metal really going to have to rely on this hard entry and a jump over the final wall to get to that Town Hall on the back end, though, because there is no plan B to get that second star. Here they go, straight up the gut and through the fire and the flames. Can they carry on, Lady B?
He has the Queen ability. He's got the King still working through with his ability as well, and the Royal Champion just cutting from the side edge. The Queen with her ability and the rage isn't going to be enough. She gets distracted by the outlying structures and that Expo threatening to pick her off, but it is just enough power out of her. One final shot as she dies out, but that's all this needed to secure the 2-star. Now he wants to capitalize, pick up the 3-star, claim that full lead here. The King's forging the way, but he's still got a lot of work to do and a lot of backtracking with only 23 seconds left. There's not enough time for this, Woody.
Yeah, not enough time. Even if he did manage to clean up this entire outer edge, there's a wall that separates him from that Archer Tower. Hagura Metal with another 2-star, and we have yet to triple so far this war, Lady B.
Yeah, defense is holding strong this time through, though. We did see some good defenses in the last matchup as well, particularly with SSG being able to hold a 1-star. That's not been the case yet, but it's still a little bit of an even keel, waiting to see who's going to be able to just throw down the triple. That 99% keeping QSFN ever so close to it, but their percentage overall now a bit in jeopardy because of their second hit.
Well, right you are. With a tied up 4-4, it's just going to be a tiny lead now for Hagura Metal, in fact, on the 1% step up. QSFN with an opportunity now to strike back and to try to get that clear and convincing pickup. A 3-star here would be so important for them to get the lead finally and to make this percentage race game a little bit safer. The third strike out of 2 misses, though, you got to be wondering, what is the morale on both of the sides of this battlefield? Is any one of them feeling particularly good about the late war? Did they feel like maybe they were going to have some dicey plays at the beginning, but with good timing to plan and prepare for the 3rd, 4th, 5th hits, that they get the lead? This just seems like completely split down the middle right now, and I can't really pick QSFN or Hagura Metal as the favorite.
Yeah, well, we've got Loop Zara coming in, and, you know, he is known for his lalos. We've seen phenomenal work from him out of INTZ. So I expect to see, if we're going to see the triple coming, I expect to see it coming from Loop. And kicking this one off with a Queen charge. Now notice patience on dropping those healers, just waiting for ample opportunity to drop them with no threat of anything picking them off, and wants to also be able to get that Loon in a good position to pick up any possible traps along the way. I mean, we have seen some dirty baiting going on, especially in like those corner sections, so they do need to be very mindful of these approaches, though I can't say I have seen that at least in the last few weeks. So maybe people have eased up on it and know that this is more the, not so much the element of surprise, but a full bypass around this town hall. We will push our opening, I would assume, to loop around to get into it, but we do have the blimp that actually can help out in this case as well.
Okay, Loop, you've got exactly what you were looking for on the entry. Not too much damage on those healers as well, just a little bit of splash action. He gets the battle blimp for a convincing drop on the Town Hall. There is no question at all that it is going down as long as he protects for the entry. It looks like sneaky goblins are going to be stabbing away, and those poor defenders are just going to be left wondering why their Town Hall is about to explode. They can't even see the attackers in that case. It's going to be the Archer Queen to pop off with an additional poison spell to help out with those super minions out back. But that's a lot of firepower in the center there. Single target Inferno is starting to heat up. That is going to be a big freeze to shut her down and save from the Royal Champion in the center as well. Protect from the single target Inferno as she passes around to the outer edge, but not going to get full value on the rage that was dropped there. Unfortunate for Loopzera.
Not getting full value on the rage or the invisibility spell that was dropped there to try and get her through that single targeting Inferno, so a bit wasted, but he does have her ability and he has a freeze to try and hold this off. She makes a push to get towards that single, but it's not happening. Is he going to let her die out? Rages her up one more time. Is able to target it. And freezes it up. He knows it's going to be a problem as the Queen distracts her. Now, the lava portion of this is working fine. It's all the play on the Queen just to get as much as he can out of this. And with a Royal Champ, he can work his way through the scatter shot. So he's not quite so worried about those loons as much. He wants the heroes to help finish this off. But there's only 27 seconds remaining. So this is why we need them alive and well to work this one across. And considering what that Queen just did, I mean, this has really turned into a nice option, but we need to see if we're going to get the 3-star. Oh my goodness! It actually is going to be the 3-star Woody. Oh.
Well, in the final moments, Loopzera pulls through with the triple, pulling up our star total for QSFN to 7. Not exactly the stellar start that they had hoped for, but the lead nonetheless over Hagura Metal. With that advantageous positioning on the leaderboard, they definitely want to make the most of it and push up as high as they possibly can. And boy, have they finally done it on a tricky entry leading to a questionable finish. They nonetheless do get the first 3-star of this war. A war that has shaped up really strongly tilted toward the defense. Out of our 5 attacks so far, only one of them a triple, but since it is in QSFN's pocket, that is going to get them the advantage they were looking for.
Definitely. They just need to continue to hold on to this. And I mentioned it earlier, QSFN is a team where we've seen them coming in mighty close with many other top contending teams, even keeping it down to percent. They seem to like that thrill. I don't know if they do it on purpose or not. I don't think I would do it on purpose, but they seem to get quite that close. And I think once they get this lead, that's where it's hard to rip it out of their grasps, but we'll have to see how the rest of the team is really going to hold up to the pressure and what Hagura Metal is actually going to be able to bring against them. And speaking of, they are bringing in more Zapquake Lalo action. Now, we take down the core, and I talk about this a lot because this is a great way to not only pick up some high damage items, particularly for those loons if there's a multi in the center of the base, help with pathing for sweepers, but also just change the pathing and direction for the Lalo so we can try and eliminate any possibility of going into the core. The only thing that we have to worry about if there are any Teslas in the mix. So that could be the only thing that would pull those loons in and trap them and unleash those traps and cause some problems.
Katsumi nabs the Town Hall for the first star here, and I like that we have a little bit of a split up here with both an Ice Hound and a Lava Hound for the final edges of the base. We do see only 2 air defenses standing, one in that Town Hall pocket up on the top, and then another at 12 o'clock near that scatter shot. But this is a potentially super high value pair off now with the Unicorn going out to help the Royal Champion. Despite the loss of that Archer Queen, she is still got to get the heals off from that helpful pet. Stone Slammer for the outer edge, looping around now. Very good usage here of that Siege Machine, especially since the Town Hall is already down. Don't have to try to pivot out to a Battle Blimp. And now Katsumi will drop a gigantic Eternal Tome Laloon strike in the top corner. Ice Hound pops for that big upper compartment and a free spell as well to shut down the scatter. Another one keeps it on the ice. Katsumi is looking great.
He is, and he's got the spells to help support this. We've got the freeze to help hold off that scatter shot that actually did not go down I don't know if he's going to get the full split to go to it. They go for the Wizard Tower. He drops the haste because he knows he needs to get through it fast. No more splash on the back end, so the Loons aren't in too bad of a position, but there is a lot of overwhelming defense. We have the Warden Tower and Archer Tower that do fire away pretty heavy, but considering the pack of Loons he had, plus the Dragon here absorbing some of that damage, it puts Katsumi in this perfect position to pick up a 3-star. And despite the King trying to distract that one minion, we still have a lot of spread out here. We have the minion, the Archer, working down in the storages, Loons in a perfect position and spread out, and the Dragon on the opposite side of the base. So Katsumi knows he should be fine on this one as long as he can quickly get that Dragon to the CC in the center.
Hurry on up, Katsumi. I don't even know if it's going to be the Dragon. It might be the Grand Warden minions that get there, but they're all soaring on in, collapsing on the mid, and it's kind of funny to me how the Clan Castle is often the last building that goes down when we do see these long bomb triples finally make it to the outer edge. Katsumi does get it done, though, and here we are now tied up on stars with 7-7 between QSFN and Hagura Metal. Man, they really stumbled out the gate, but they are on a tear through the mid-war now. And really trying to keep this race as tight as they possibly can. We are once again back to basically a reset with just a slim 0.7% lead for Hagura Metal. That tiny little percentage lead does become more and more important the later on we get into this war. But QSFN still have their high hopes. Leading out, though, as the first attackers in this series is another disadvantage for them. So if I were to say that the ticker were leaning one way or the other, I would say Hagura Metal probably have a bit more reason to feel happy about where they're at, but not necessarily decisively, especially with QSFN leading them on points over on the leaderboard. QSFN could potentially lose here, and as long as the rest of the wars don't go against them, they might actually even be able to hold on for that top leaderboard spot. They're going to be picking up points out of this quarterfinals performance, and so that will lead them over and above where Axio are at, and I think as well over and above NGT Legends. So opportunities still for both of them to move on, but Hagura Metal really need to clinch this one to feel confident about advancement.
They certainly do. Now we see the Blimp approaching, and I notice that he's got a Hound in the mix. I'm curious if this is partly for ACC lure, if the Blimp warned to be able to get the full lure out of it, which indeed he is able to with the Yeti Blimp. Rage is up, and the Rage really helps ensure that when we have a defending hero here, that we get the full value that we intend. Now, with going for that, we pick up some great value, but we also get the CC lure, which is huge because when the heroes can take this on to the outside edge of the base where we're taking on no damage, it gives them nice full health to come in. So you're just really securing some easy pickup in value without having to invest too much.
Bit of a light entry here so far for Giovanni. Pops down the CC though, and with that Lava Hound out of commission, that is going to be a little bit more safety for the final edge. Going a little bit slow here, but does get the crack in with the Ice Golem out here in the bottom right compartment for that invasion of the Town Hall. The freeze is out, and it does catch the Archer Queen as well. More time and safety for this Queen dive to be able to get a few more buildings down. Defenses are not looking too hot for Katsumi here, and I think that Giovanni is cleared for landing. Does get the unfortunate chip damage over on the Unicorn down there at the bottom. Missed with the invisibility spell, but he's got more important things to worry about now. Barbarian King lumbering around the outer edge with a Royal Champion as well to finish off the left side compartment. This is a clean first star, and the second one's coming in soon after. That might have been a rotation from a Tornado Trap to get that Queen into the Giga Inferno, and unfortunately she does go down there, maybe losing a little bit of value with that charge, but nonetheless, got to be relatively happy with how things turned out there. It's just going to be a race to the finish now, as just over a minute remains for the Laloon on the final edge.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty great what he got out of those heroes. Now, I think the biggest contention is going to be the single in the core of the base, but he's got a heal that he's holding on to get into this. And a little bit of resistance from the sweepers, but not worrying too much because the Hounds are actually, look at this, able to absorb the traps along the way, push those Loons back, so it works in his favor. It's just a matter of hanging on to this heal so the Loons have everything that they need to finish off the defenses in the core. Now, we talk about eliminating the path, but it's not always necessary, especially especially when you're seeing more and more players going back to the roots of bringing in the heals with the lalos. And it is a valuable spell option to bring in for this particular situation. With 24 seconds left to go, we have a reasonable split up of this, but not quite enough considering there's so many storages. Defense goes down, but he's not going to have enough time to actually finish the job here for the 3 o'clock side or even the 12 o'clock side of the base.
Regrettable finish. The cleanup is just not fast enough. Need to hire a janitor for the next one here because Giovanni did excellent work on the interior, but just leaving too many troops committed to the actual attack and not for those little extra buildings on the outer edge. That is going to be it. And with a big pickup now, we have finally got exactly the sort of positioning that Hagura Metal had been fighting for, have been clamoring for, have been struggling for. With this opportunity now to get us both a star and a percentage lead out of the 4th attack, they can finally get a strong finish to this war, even if the start was a little bit dicey. So Oxyride will be the player of the hour now with 8 hogs and 18 miners. It's a hybrid strike with a siege barracks for funneling along the outer edge. Starting off with the Queen dive on this right corner. She's going to get some healers actually to help her out for this charge inward, cracking through these walls with super wall breaks as well. And it's going to be a pretty standard setup for this strike. 2 heal spells and a few rages to help the Queen out early on and maybe even potentially give a little boost to this hybrid later, Lady B.
Yeah, this is the first hybrid that we're actually seeing today, I think, overall. And I'm surprised because a hybrid, at least in ESL, in the European division for mobile, we're seeing it with an 88% hit rate, actually even higher, I think, after this week. But last week it was proving to be very, very strong. So I'm surprised we're not seeing more attackers going about this, but it is very base specific. You have to get the right pathing. So charges in this Queen, we typically need to eliminate the Town Hall with a Queen charge portion, though there are some other options. But what we certainly need to also worry about is shaping up the path for the miners. They can stray very easily, similar to the way we see dragons pulling to the side. The hogs not so much because they'll focus on the defenses. So we need to use the king and the siege barracks to actually keep this pathing nice, tight, and concise. But I like this kind of base because it's very symmetrical. So he's got an easy push coming in from either side where he's going to be heading in straight on for a scatter shot on one side, and the eagle just is going to be there on the back end. So no matter where he comes in from his entry, he knows he's going to be in a good solid position. However, Woody, the Queen goes down, and the healers aren't even going to be able to benefit much for a transfer as they get picked off by the Wizard Tower.
Oh no, heartbreaker for Oxyride. Big loss of value early on, and that is just going to be really difficult to make a comeback happen from with just a minute to try to finish out the rest of the space. It has been a super slow entry point that has just not got what he is looking for. Multi-target Infernos just railing away at these poor attackers in the center. Finally get a little bit of hog additional support with the cavalry storming on in from that siege barracks at the bottom, but it is just too little too late. Even if they were successful, and I think that that's going to be questionable on this attack in the middle. Nope, losing out against the multi-target Inferno, and this left corner is just going to melt. Hagura Metal have just given away the positioning that they had fought so hard for, and this is really a pretty tragic finish up for them, now down in a low percentage, 60s on this 2-star strike. Maybe the weakest attack that we've seen today.
Yeah, this is just handing over I'm not going to call it the victory because QSFN still need to do a little bit more work, but this is handing over massive opportunity now for QSFN. And, you know, a little bit odd of a plan the way he was coming in, but I actually like the use of the king being wall broken and the siege barracks in 2 different spots to try and force a hybrid through the core of the base. The fact that the queen wasn't there, we know it wouldn't have been enough. With these hybrids, we really rely on the queen being a huge contending factor, not only shaping up the initial push of the base, but being there towards the back end, because time is a huge factor for these kind of attacks as well.
Well, we are still going to be hoping on their six that this fifth and final strike from both of them can go in their favor. It's still wide open, though, because even with that loss from Hagura Metal, if they can hold off on defense and keep QSFN to the 2-star on their last strike, a triple could win it. not entirely impossible. And, just like we had seen in our previous war between Alternate and Space Station, it is really just still up for grabs, even on the 5th and final one. Exactly the sort of thing that you would hope for in a tight war between two superpowers in QSFN and Hagura Metal. So really excited to see how the next attack goes out. The last one for QSFN, the triple does secure victory, but the 2-star leaves Hagura Metal with a easy spot to nab it all.
Yep. So pressure on. Easy, right? No.
Right, you are.
So Pecasto, oh my goodness. There are certain attacks that I don't like to see when a 3-star is needed, when there's really this kind of pressure applying. One of those is a Queen Charge Log Launcher Lalo, for reasons I've stated before, with potential 1-stars. But the other is the E-Drag, unless you were an expert E-Dragger, which I don't know how much I've seen Pecasto actually doing E-Drags. I'd be worried. This can really fizzle out quick. You want to look for a base that's going to have some big chain value, which we do see coming in, but it doesn't look like an easy approach because we're already getting that split coming through. He's got to keep them working together, and he needs these heroes really carrying it through. Leaving this town hall for the back end too means that the Queen needs to path her way in here to actually take this on, because we've already sent in the Stone Slammer, which was tanking, and the E-Drag's still struggling to finish clearing out the core.
Oh my, and a huge Tesla farm is going to pop up right in this town hall compartment. When these two E-Drags needed a light touch to try to get in and finish off, they are going to find the biggest possible surprise in that bottom compartment. It's going to be the loss of those E-Drags, and really just one left along the upper edge with this Grand Warden trying to path along and get this thing finished off. But can they do it? Barbarian King is the hero to save the day, pathing in along now this Archer Queen, and this is actually looking like a pretty confident finish up here, holding on to that Royal Champion ability until the last minute. I think Pecasto from QSFN is going to be the one to save the day, looking for this triple to win the entire thing. He's got plenty of time for cleanup, and there's no defenses left. QSFN have done it, Lady B.
Take my words away. Don't let me talk about Pecasto anymore, what he's bringing to the table, because he absolutely melted that base with the E-Drags. I was a little bit skeptical, especially seeing some resistance coming through, knowing how fast these E-Drags can go down. If he hadn't finished through that core, that would have been really problematic, because the heroes were relying on solely taking out the entire backside of the base, which is a huge task considering he started them from the outskirts, worked them along to that bottom side, but he worked that beautifully. And yeah, they've got the win here. This is all they needed. So maybe I shouldn't be so skeptical about these E-Drags for the final attacks.
Hats off to QSFN. Hagura Metal are just going to be hoping to try to clamber back on a star tie, but a percentage loss. Ultimately, they are hopeless in their final strike, and that means that QSFN, with the point lead from previously in our other weeks of competition, is going to be advancing on. And I'm just right there alongside the rest of y'all questioning, does this mean that QSFN will guarantee advancement? I think that will be the case. Alongside Space Station Gaming, QSFN had 12 points, are going to be picking up at least 8 more, and that is going to be a confident 20-point start for them on this last week for this leaderboard. Axio and NGT Legends, the teams that were in contention with them, not going to be able to get any more points here since they didn't advance. And I think that means that QSFN are going to be right there next to Space Station Gaming, looking forward to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's going to put them in a very big spot here. Though we do still have next week. What is that going to do for our players next week who managed to make their way through and the points that they can earn?
Well, good question, but it's just the last chance qualifier for next week. We're in our third and final week now of the ClashMSTRS qualifiers, so it's going to be finished up after the end of tomorrow, but that's going to have 4 qualifying teams and the possibility of 4 more to qualify at the last chance qualifier. I do think we might see seeding for the last chance qualifier based upon the points that have been accumulated in the first 3 weeks, so there is still some hope out there to ensure a better positioning for that last chance qualifier based upon their showing here and now, but no hopes to get a guaranteed berth into our final round.
So So let's see, though, what Hagura Metal can do finishing this off again, knowing that there's no opportunity for them, definitely for today's matchup, obviously. And just looking to finish off on a high note. We saw beautiful execution from them last week and looking to see if they can follow it up and finish off strong today. Queen working along the outskirts. Now, this is time consuming. When we see these ice golems coming out of the CC, this is a great way to stall. Hero dives, Queen charges, and just waste the time away, but especially for an attack like this, because we've got the hero dive coming in that needs to do a lot of work, gutting out the core and just leaving the outside edges open for the rocket loons to actually clean up. And this can often run down to time as it is. So the ice golems might be a really great option for this CC defense.
Kisara taking a hammering from this Eagle artillery, but the pop over the walls and the rage spell in the interior is a good, hearty hit with a golem out in front to block for this Queen. Charge deep into the base now. This is going to be a mighty strike for Kisara. 16 rocket loons ready to pierce the outer edges, and it's just going to be rotting from the inside out now. Kisara has really done a lot of work there. Unfortunately, losing a lot of barbarians as you saw to the spring trap, but still, even though there's not many troops on the interior, they are still well protected by spells, a Grand Warden life aura, and even that one final freeze ready to drop at a moment's notice. Big spread out from these rocket loons is also going to deny value to that scatter shot. So this was an atypical entry point for Kisara, but an extremely impressive one in my book. I love to see these wild and woolly, indescribable kind of new meta strikes, and this is a super creative one from Kisara.
Yeah, not using the Queen charge with it. A lot of times we actually see the Queen charge working in conjunction with the King, the Warden, and the Royal Champ on an opposing side here, but this worked lightning fast and great handling of keeping that Queen alive through, keeping that ability going. A little bit of delay on the freeze at the final end, but held it off at the perfect time. So that is a nice, strong way to actually finish the day for themselves, even though they've got QSFN, who has taken the win over them ultimately.
Well, they are going to be getting the drop here, but congratulations to them nonetheless. As we mentioned earlier, the points that they've accumulated today will stay up on the leaderboard and potentially help with advancement in that last chance qualifier. But I think that they ought to be picking up 4 now from that quarterfinals performance. And so Hagura Metal should be finishing off with 14 total. That could put them over and above Axio. And so maybe still have a chance to get that spot now. With the points accumulated, they'll be behind Space Station and QSFN for sure. Also, I think probably behind NGT Legends, if my math is right. But over and atop Axio, and possibly trying to edge out a spot after all.
Okay, so we'll see what they can do, what magic can be worked, but we still have a few more matches left to come, and I'm excited for these. I said it earlier today. We get to see some of these well-known faces in the mix-up, and that's going to include Nishang Dance and Carnage Gaming later. But first, we're going to have NY Amazing facing off against Tomp and I Empire, and that's going to be right up after this short break.
and welcome back to Clash Masters, the third and final qualifier of our second season. We are proceeding through the quarterfinals now and have already seen two amazing wars between Space Station and Alternate Attacks, as well as between QSFN and Hagura Metal, going down to the wire at the very end, not finding out who wins until it is almost over. Space Station and QSFN have advanced, though, and with that, they have accumulated more points toward that playoff positioning at the end of the season in a couple of weeks. Next up, though, we've got a thriller. NY Amazing versus Tompanai Empire, world's previously placement teams, with Tompanai Empire securing an actual golden ticket here, Lady B. What do you make of this start so far?
This is a tough one to try and determine because Tompanai Empire, of course, are one of the gold ticket winners. We've seen them with phenomenal work early on, but I've seen them also die off a little bit in what they've done leading up to the World Championships, and I don't know how much they want to show their hand coming into this. The other thing I think that's a little bit worrisome for Tompanai in this matchup is NY Amazing. They're an incredibly strong team, and I've said it before, they seem to be like the kryptonite for ATN, for a team like them. So I don't know that Tompanai is going to be in an easy position. I can see NY Amazing taking a big win in this matchup.
Yeah, certainly could. We'll see if we do get that bit of an upset, though. I would say that Tompanai are favored for me. NY Amazing have had really successful runs in the past, and I think it must be said that they got a qualification for a Worlds Monthly, but didn't make it on through due to rules violation. And so they actually, in terms of performance, have been up on the very tippy top of the Clash of Clans esports scene, and are looking now for this opportunity through Clash Masters to come back and vindicate their performances from before and show that they are still a team that ought to be on the minds of all top players out there. With an edge toward fear, you shouldn't feel confident about going up against them at all. And potentially, even with that golden ticket in their pockets, Tompanai Empire might have too much up against them to get the win here. So I'll tip toward Tompanai Empire, but within my Amazing doing so well in the past, I think this is going to be another thriller of a fight.
It certainly will be. And I could see this coming close to stars. I would almost expect NY Amazing to come in, edge out Tompanai. And looking actually at Tompanai's previous matches, what they've put up star count wise, they were hitting 13 to 14 stars. So that's really where NY Amazing would need to be. And I think that's an easy spot for them. Though I'm not sure what to expect these days from Tompanai defensively. So we'll have to see what they're bringing to the table. But Neon kicking it off and trying to find this three-star connection to lead the team, get the morale going, give them the boost they need to get this war kicked off, bringing in the Hydra. And we shape up a nice path with the heroes, sectioning off these dragons, keeping them fairly narrowed out, a few splitting over to the multi, but most importantly, we need to get this blimp set in place to take down the town hall. The heroes have a lot under control though right now.
This is a mighty fast hit here, Lady B, and once again, as we've seen with Dragons and Dragon Riders in the past, it is just going to be as soon as you can get those rages out and positioned. That is how quickly you were going to see Nan get the drop on this top side as well. Freeze goes out for the Town Hall, but a bit of an unfortunate pathing here for the balloons, which are not going to it at all. Dragons on the top edge are going to have a bit of trouble as well, making it past this air defense, and there's nothing left but a rage to stack on top. Oh, he's going to rage the Royal Champion. I was wondering why there was an empty rage on the top corner. This should have a shot, but no, with the CC troops coming out, that's going to be massive destruction. Going to distract this poor Royal Champion who gets the shield toss off, but no, not this time. NY Neon is just so devastated by this defensive shutdown. Dragons are mighty, but even mightier than the sword is the pensive thoughts of Michael DP as he set out the layout for the space and achieved a 1-star 87% defense.
Okay, so I said I didn't know what we were going to see and expect from Top and I defensively. I don't think anybody was predicting that. A 1-star to start off with defensively against NY Amazing is going to be huge for them. Like, this is gearing up towards the ATN SSG war, but just from the start, this is going to be a pretty tough turnaround, I would say.
Yeah, incredibly tough. There has never been an opening salvo that has so limp-fisted just kind of fallen off the map. NY Amazing with a 1-star to begin with, not only missed out on the triple that we've come to expect, but also the 2-star, and Carnage Gaming have just been rolling in it, are ready to cash this attack out now. And even if they miss, they'd still effectively have a star lead, and could potentially get the 2-star lead out of the gate. So Carnage really having a great war so far, and lots to be happy about. Excuse us, that's actually not Carnage, that's Top and I Empire, as was previously mentioned, and we've got the bracket finished up right there. But wanted to make sure that we are going to give them every single shot that they've got. The next war attack will start very soon, Lady B, and I think all signs point to Top and I Empire Ascendant.
Yeah, this is a nice, easy follow-up for Tomp and I. And a lot of times we actually see Rigo Torres, who takes the lead. He's just the general, you know, he commands the forces, takes that frontline position, and tries to lead them through victory. Coming off that 1-star defense, this puts him in a much easier position to do that. I'm curious to see what he's doing these days, because we've always known Rigo Torres as a Queen Charge Lalo attacker, the team in general, but we've seen him mix it up, and especially towards Hogs at the end of last year, he was doing a little bit more of. So now that we know that Hogs are pretty strong at this point, including hybrid, I'm wondering if we're going to see him working his way towards ground. I feel like Tom and I has gone a little bit underground in many ways since they qualified for the World Championship, so we don't get to see quite as much of them, and I think they're hiding a lot up their sleeves. But we might just get a little sneak peek, and it's not going to be, Rigo Torres, but going to be Machuo following up that great defense for the team, bringing in the Queen Charge Lalo.
Mechuo going to be able to crack through some walls here now on the bottom side. Archer Queen gets an easy entry point. This is kind of an atypical setup on the base here from GYY. Big outer layers of walls just kind of stalling and stopping, but I mean, with wall breakers, you can easily get into those outer sections. It's really just the inner section that could be troublesome, but not even that. Gets the nether crack out there with the super wall break, and pathing should be pretty easy for Mechuo at this point.
Yeah, so these anti-2-star bases are really set in place to try and trade people up, get the 1-star. But you see a lot of players, especially if they're playing in Legends League, that they handle it really well. It relies on a good funnel for your Queen Charge to work your way through, maybe set in a blimp to help take on. There's a lot of incoming damage that we see in these style bases with the scatter shot surrounding the Eagle within it and the Town Hall. So you just need that bit of force, and you're going to use your other option, in this case the Lalo, to take care of the cleanup. But we do need that Queen to stay focused, take down the Town Hall, and take on a lot of these heavy damaging items. And this is great value out of the King. You can see how he's shaped up the path for the Queen, just keeping her centralized into the core, ensuring that she's going to focus on the Town Hall. The same with the Royal Champion, just taking out those obstacles.
Nice crack onto the Town Hall. First star is secured. She's lost her pet, unfortunately, and that's going to be no more healing for her. Metro is going to get the ability forced out there, but doesn't get much value from it because a big bomb explodes right in her face, taking out all the archers. Nonetheless, though, a wide spread of these balloons should be able to mitigate some of the damage incoming from the scatter shot here, and especially with the Eternal Tome up, that is going to shut them down. Spells are coming out like a frenzy as Mechuo gets the freeze off and hastes and still holding on to an invis for the back end. These balloons are taking a lot of damage, and the last Lava Hound has popped, and the pups are coming out, and it's a multi-target Inferno to try to be the last line, but that's a lot of balloons. I don't think they can burn up in time. Mechuo looks cleared for landing as a 3-star is on approach.
So nice with that invisibility spell and keeping it. So the loons are on the cusp of it, but not getting the multi in there. That bypasses the battle builder hut, allows the loons with what force they have to take on the multi, which was the biggest contention for them. Yes, he had a huge pack, but he didn't want to risk it. So Mechuo just is able to come in, sailing through with a 3-star start. This is a huge, huge lead. Imagine starting off a war, Woody, with 2 stars ahead in the bag.
Oh yeah, I'm imagining it because I'm seeing it right before my very eyes. Seeing is believing in this case, and I am believing in Tampanai Empire's chances to advance. This is extremely good for them, especially as a team that hadn't scored any leaderboard points yet. They would need to get all 15 from a first place finish if they wanted to secure their advancement into the playoffs. Now, I guess maybe I should take that back. I'm not quite sure that they didn't pick up any points from week 2, but they aren't currently on the leaderboard. They're not in the top 8. So they definitely would need to pick up a lot if they want to make a stab for the top.
Yeah, and then of course the last chance qualifiers, so we get to see a little bit of previews from the teams that might not be able to make it, what they could potentially do by fighting their way in randomly in that last chance qualifiers, which I always think is exciting, that there's going to be that extra opportunity for teams to work their way in. Of course, it's nice to secure it. That's exactly what you want to do. You don't want any question about whether or not you're going to make it, but there's always one last chance.
Well, the last chance is coming for these teams, but it is going to be a crowded field next week. Much easier to guarantee right here and now when you're already in this week 3 final round of the qualifiers. NY Amazing, though, have really let their own hopes down with that big drop early on. And so Tampanai Empire are going to have a clear, clever, convincing, great start off to continue here. NY Light is going to be the player in the driver's seat. Starting off with a Warden Walk, slow beginning into Super Bowler Smash, something that we'd seen a time or two before in the COC Esports World Champs lineup and gaining a little bit of traction, but hasn't yet found its footing. I don't think that this is a decidedly strong attack strategy yet. It's still very experimental, but can get 3 stars out when it's done perfectly. Do you think NY Light's going to be able to pull it off?
I think that's going to be yet to be seen. It is a tricky attack, and it offers a lot of power. These super bowlers are very, very tanky, but we do see a lot of players actually struggling with it in the connection, and there's a couple different ways to approach it. I've often come from the point of liking to bring the King into the mix because he provides a lot of great tank, and the super bowlers and King actually work together at a great speed. We do have the siege barracks to work along the outskirts, so this is going to allow the King to start weaving his way inside, taking on some of the force, and work along with these troops. The main thing is that we need to see the healer swap coming off. We want those bowlers, super bowlers, to actually be able to work their way through straight to the back end of the base, and that's why this timing is so key and why it's very useful to actually bring in the King for it.
Well, that is going to be a powerful charge to the interior. Rage just dropped right on top of that big Super Bowler army. Those are some beefy dudes there, Lady B. They are hopping over these walls like there is no problem at all. Lots of splash damage on the 3rd strike there, and they are just aiming right down the center of this lane. Town Hall has taken a massive amount of damage even before they even get the lock on there, and it is just going to go down to that splash from the bounce. It looks like they're all still up, alive, healthy, and happy to continue on for a beautiful strike as NY Light has got so much time left. This is an overwhelming finish with a free spell swagged into the center of the base. Wow! If I ever doubted these Super Bowlers, color me pink, because I am so happy to see them warming up and grabbing a victory with so much of an overwhelming finish here for NY Light. Super big payoff for finishing off with that new attack.
Yeah, that was like the base itself. Did you see how much bounceable value was there at the end? And like, this was perfect planning. This was great base recognition. The identification, knowing that he could get that value, was superb. That was amazing. And this is why they are a very strong troop. You had asked, is he going to do it? It's hard to say, because if you don't get the proper funnel, you don't get everything working together, and you don't keep those super bowlers alive. Like, the Warden timing is just, it has to be done quite right to get them through. And with the King providing the tank, it just worked out perfectly. But that bounceable value was key on the back end.
Excellent job there. Congrats and hats off to you, because that is exactly what NY Amazing needed to stay in this war. Picking up a triple off of their 1-star fail earlier on does give them an average of just 2 stars per hit so far, and against a Tampanai Empire squad that came out of the gates guns blazing, it is still going to be a long and difficult trek ahead. But now there's a hope, and as we've seen before, you can turn a hope expand it, push it on out, and try to turn it into something more. No guarantees yet here, but happy to see this war turning out to be a little bit closer than that first attack may have led us to believe.
Yeah, I think this is the rebound recovery now for NY Amazing. And I said it earlier about ATN, you know, like there are certain teams that you know can try and turn around bad situations and get it much closer. NY Amazing is one of those teams that we could see it from. Even Tomp and I is a team that I've seen actually do this. So that's going to be NY Amazing's biggest problem, is because Tomp and I does have the lead, and we know that they can be miraculous at recovery. They're just going to have to see if they can find some sort of slip up from them. But with Rigo Torres coming in, I don't know how much slip up, though. I don't know how many times I've actually seen Rigo Torres come in with a queen charge drag rider. Now, he is notorious for his queen charges, particularly with the Lalo, and we've seen him do exceptional work with hybrid and hugs as well. So this should really be no difference for him.
Big strike in the left corner, but that queen's taking a lot of damage, getting chopped apart, and what? She's still up. Okay, takes out the enemy Barbarian King, gets the CC Lure as well. Poison is down to help try to deal with these pups, and it's going to be another royal charge up in the top corner with that King taking the fire this time. But massive value for Rigo Torres of Tomp and I Empire to be able to grab a huge compartment out on the left side, and especially up against a base that is still really well protecting its Town Hall in the center. This bodes very well for the later stage of the attack, leaning into this Queen Charge Dragon Rider pivot. It's going to be, sacrificing a wizard out there trying to get that lowered Archer Tower down. But nonetheless, still looking very confident and strong. Rage up on these healers is going to give an easy duel in favor of the attacking Queen as she jumps on in to take down the Town Hall.
Yeah, very interesting style base, because typically when we see these town halls centralized like this, we're seeing ring style bases, and that's not necessarily the case here with all the compartments to work through, but kind of treating it the same, keeping that queen charging along to take on the town hall. And we'll use the drag riders for the outskirts. The king really helped give this queen the full value that she needed, and I like the position where he came in from, because he was able to contend with the CC while the poison bomb was actually wearing off. So the queen goes in full health, was able to use her ability through the core, and that was really what this was relying on with the power of the Stone Slammer. We can send it in from the outskirts, and look at the tank it's offering for these drag riders, just focusing one of them away from the drag riders, and the timing of the Warden ability, perfection, to give them what they need to make their pass just up through there.
And they are on the ropes now. With 30 seconds left, they are doing very well with this attack, but are just running low on time and are backed up against the wall trying to finish this thing off, powering on through. But you got to dump everything you've got when you see there's just 20 seconds left and so much remains for cleanup. Rigo Torres is on a race to the finish and trying to pass that line as quickly as he can. 12 seconds, and here come the balloon. There goes the headhunter. Can they dump it on in and finish it off? I think they just barely got it. 5 seconds left, and the final pump goes down. Rigo Torres, 100% 3-star.
Oh my goodness, keeping that down to the wire, but so much power left over. The sneaky goblin there, just a split up of the troops. And did you notice that health bar on the Royal Champion? I love watching these players actually just let her go as low as possible, especially if she's under protection from either hogs or the drag riders, so that the defenses aren't targeting her. Doing that is huge, because you get that extra bump of regenerative health that comes along with it. So it's just saving her as a bit of a safety net, and you know you'll just get that extra boost for her to finish off any defenses that remain.
Excellent job there to Rigo Torres. Tomp and I Empire still confidently in the lead. Their borders expanding and seeking new victims now, new targets with this 2-star lead over NY Amazing, languishing behind, but on a surging rise back now. They've picked up a 3-star. Can they do it again? It's up to Sue with a Hog Rider army. Big log launcher ready to roll straight through and try to stack up even more value against a big base with lots of different compartments on the interior. This is not a really compact base at all. It's spread out to the very edges, and with so many walls to try to prevent funneling here, it's going to be an interesting seeing where the log goes to deploy. It's going to be right behind this queen, in fact, just going to be knocking down one layer of walls, so not quite sure if it's going to get the value that I was hoping for, but nevertheless, Sue does get a clever entry for the 1-star to claim. Maybe even get a little poke onto the top and take down the enemy queen if the pathing goes well.
Yeah, I was half expecting seeing the log launcher come from the opposite side, maybe using the King and the Warden. Something a little bit crazy, but it's a bit of a safe approach, though the Queen's taking on heavy fire. The one good thing about that log launcher is it took down some surrounding defenses, including the Wizard Tower, so just a little bit less pressure on the Queen here, and of course has the ability to work through, but does not want to waste that because we need to get closer to the Town Hall. We don't want to risk losing that out, especially as he has to get in the Hogs and brings in the Royal Champion there. So not a lot of room for error on this one with everything already placed and on the board, but these Hogs work through beautifully. With Hogs, we can actually go for a wider spread than Miners or Hybrid because they're going to just target the defenses and we can calculate their path much easier. But this Royal Champ on the inline edge is what's needed to try and take the multi down. Just unfortunate for a few Hogs swarming through and getting picked up and a little bit wasted by that Tornado Trap.
Royal Champion stabs into that top right compartment, and if she can get that multi down, that's really good news for these Hogs, which are starting to get pretty thin out here on the outer edge. Sue, though, has done so much wonderful work creating a path of destruction for the Hogs to swoop around the top side and kind of finish off there down at the bottom. Royal Champion still yet to use the ability. Even as it's forced out here, it's going to get a gigantic strike onto the remaining defenses here. These little 4-5 Hogs are going to get that one little invis to help them out along the bottom path. And here comes the freeze. Ought to be on that Archer Tower at the very last moment. No, instead, maybe just swag it, feeling confident. All right, finally gets the drop off there. And that's going to be the 3-star for NY Amazing.
So they are looking to try and charge through, find some errors coming in from Tompanai, but it seems like that's not going to happen the way this is going. It's going to be unfortunate to see if NY Amazing were to go perfect at this point and that 1-star just haunting them from the start, just nothing that they could potentially do about it because Tompanai seems to be on fire, but equally, that was a pretty hot and heavy attack coming in from Sue, and unexpected to actually see him coming in with the Hogs.
Loved to see it. NY Amazing still going to be showing up, and just with that perseverance that we've been talking about for so long now, Lady B, an opportunity just to try to barely keep their heads above water. Tompanai Empire are dunking on them so far and get another opportunity now to pull back ahead easily and convincingly with just a 2-star, but that is the lowest bar that we would set for such a stellar squad. Much more likely that they're going to put up another 3 here for the tic-tac-toe 9-star start to this war. Finally, we are seeing the firepower brought in, the big guns blazing, and I'm excited to see Tompanai Empire continue this path.
Yeah, especially as this seems to be them warming up and raring to go as the World Championships slowly approach. This is like them coming into their true form, showing everyone that they better be ready and fear the Tompanai.
Right, well said. Tompanai Empire, not just with their eyes on this war, but also onto the playoffs in the future with the chance to move on a first-place finish. They'll have to hold out those hopes until tomorrow when we've got our third place and final matches to follow after the semis. But for now, they can really show their skill and strength once again and get another opportunity to demonstrate that they are not fading away. They, dare I say it, are not like alternate attacks dropping out early on. They are happy to continue this fight and keep it going in deep and heavy toward the end.
Yeah, so I find it interesting that we're seeing yet another anti-2-star base. We've got these ring-style layouts coming from NY Amazing, throwing up against Tompanai, which I don't know how much Tompanai is doing in Legends League, but these seem like fairly easy approaches for them. And a lot of the pro players have learned to really work against these bases, take them down, dissect them, rip them apart into shreds because of how skilled they are at forcing the Queen charges through and getting what's needed to get to the core. That's the hardest part about this, is getting the funnel set up and right. And they're taking the safer approach by charging their way in through it.
We are still going to see a late and tricky finish here for Al Mualin. whose first star is yet to be claimed with a really well-centralized town hall, but he's going for the pincer move now. Queen down on the bottom side, losing a little bit of support from the healers, but still topped off, while it's the battle blimp soaring on in. That, oh no, catches a tornado trap right as soon as it deploys. Dragon Rider's going to get a few more shots off. Does the Town Hall go down? Yes. Good news for Almualin, but he's lost a lot of his forces. Can he finish this thing off?
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the Drag Rider, because it's only targeting the defenses. The rest were cleared out by the Queen, so just one place forward to go, where it even swooped in from that tornado trap. But he doesn't have enough support to actually finish this off. The Queen really needed to survive this one to help with those Drag Riders along the outskirts of the base. And this, unfortunately, is not going to be enough for Almualin. And even though, like, we set these up to try and pick up one-star defenses, which, you know what, NY Amazing could really use at this point in time, the 2-star is something they'll be very grateful for, especially if they can try and hold on to one more, and especially at this very low percentage that we're actually seeing.
Tompanai Empire grabbed the dubs, but it's not going to be the tic-tac-toe that I had hoped for, and that means that we are going to be left hoping and waiting for another chance to see them move up and far and ahead. Still the lead over NY Amazing, but like we had said in the past, you just give these players an inch and they will take a mile. Tompanai now dropping with the 2-star gives an opportunity for NY Amazing to triple and get this thing tied back up if they can just get a defense on the board. And I don't know why I keep falling for this same trap again and again, Lady B, thinking that this one team is going to be far and ahead just because they get another star or two up on the board. But, I mean, a 1-star start for NY Amazing is one of the weakest that we've seen, and really seemed with Tompanai Empire getting back-to-back triples that they were on fire today. I still think that Tompanai are clearly ahead and are likely to be able to lock this away. But NY Amazing have really got an opportunity now for an amazing story, if you'll forgive that, to just launch on through and try to get out to the end.
Yeah, I think the thing about the 1-stars is when you see teams like this, it is recoverable, because these are teams that do bring in defenses. So even though it's a 1-star, they just need to hold the 2 defenses to make up for that and have a solid run through. And you could see that with any of these teams, and that's how they typically capitalize off of it. We're also talking about a meta right now where defense is holding a little bit stronger, so that is more likely. We're seeing about anywhere between a 50 to 60% hit rate for most teams at this point. So that's, you know, star counts are going lower. So if you can have a clean run, you can certainly recover it. I like to hold on to the hope, Woody. I certainly do. But let's see if GYY can hold on to that hope by picking up the 3-star here and seeing if they can get another defense in the mix. And again, bringing in the Super Bowlers. We have the log launcher, so we're going for the opposite side of the town hall, that nice long line drive. Now, with this particular base, we don't see as much bounceable value, but you do see it on the back end, particularly where we have those battle builder huts, the single inferno, and leading to the town hall, where we really want to make sure that it gets the most use.
Well, here we are coming on up with a big army that is well protected there by that Grand Warden. Not yet ready to pop off that ability, but as soon as these multis start firing off, you'd expect to see GYY get it in. No, not yet. He's going to hold on with an iron will, just trying to keep these troops as safe as possible and reducing the incoming splash damage. I guess healers actually are going to work overtime now, not just topping off this hero dive up top, but also giving some additional help out to the bowlers. Still, that queen is taking a lot of damage, and you would hope that the healers could path off and retarget onto her. Nonetheless, it is all the way down to the bottom of the base already. With the 1-star claimed, it's about to be the second one as well. Log Launcher has done its duty, and those walls are completely destroyed. GYY, clever on the final side, looks to be going for that all-or-nothing 3-star push, and I think he's got it, Lady B.
Oh, I think he does too. We've got those Yetis coming out to the mix. They're going to help support the Royal Champion. Easy pickoff of the Town Hall. And those healers surviving because, thankfully, the Warden able to hold on to that ability through. The healers did not get targeted by the ADs that were surrounding on the opposite sides of the Town Hall. And this carries us on for GYY into another triple for the team. Still not enough of what they need, but it is a small start, and it's a promise of hope that they could potentially turn this one around. 1-star is not going to let them just throw this all away. They're going down fighting in this one. And I love that they're actually bringing these Super Bowlers not once, but now twice to the mix to try and get the job done and showcasing the massive power that they actually bring. I mean, you saw how many were left over to the end. There were tons there.
Yeah, I mean, we're saying that they're going down fighting, but they may not be going down after all. They are still really putting up an incredible fight with another 3-star here up on the board. NY Amazing are showing up and showing off their skills. But yeah, it's still going to be a really tough 5th round for them. They need to get a defense here and a pickup on their last and final attack to have a shot. Just doesn't seem likely against the Tompanai Empire squad that is, I mean, I'm like... prepared to call this a close war, but like Tompanai Empire is still so far and ahead, the stronger team in my eyes. The positioning here for them might be a little bit weak on percentage, but still with 2 out of 3 strikes being triples and a squad with a golden ticket that has got not just this war, but the future on their minds. Maybe that distracts them a bit, or maybe it's a motivator. I think that Tompanai Empire is a squad, though, that really revels in that difficulty, loves to take advantage of a tough war and push it for all it's worth. They are not going to go down without a big swing next, and I'm expecting a triple to pull them back ahead.
Yeah, you know, I think the one thing that just rides on the shoulders of any of these teams that are qualified for the World Championships, and I'm sure it's like really right there in the back of their minds, is how much they're actually showing to not only the the teams that are in this, but to the teams that are in this that are going to be competing, or you know, the teams that are watching this to see, okay, what's Tompanai doing? What's ACN doing? You know, what's QSFN doing? What are they bringing to the table that we're going to have to be mindful for and try and defend against, or you know, or be worried about in the mix-up? So that gives NY Amazing a little bit more of an advantage if that is riding in the back of Tompanai's minds. But React now coming in with the Super Witches. Okay, so this is something that we're actually getting to see a little bit more of. It kind of died out at the start of Town Hall 14, but just a little extra generation to it, and it's now coming back, I would say strong, but we're just not still quite seeing it as much.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of dip in popularity, but it's kind of been on the periphery for a while now and is making back another stab toward the top. React has got a lot of hopes riding on him, though, and he knows that if he's going to come in with something a little atypical, a little fun and funky like a Super Witch army, he better be able to make it work, or else there's going to be a lot of questions back in the war room at the end of the day. 1 minute already out, and Super Witch is known for being a very slow force. They're going to have to power through awfully quickly. Only 1 jump spell brought here from React, and he's got to have to hope that these super wall breakers can crack through another layer of wall on the outer side. Otherwise, it is going to be tough to path all the way through this base. Even with so much firepower, this slowdown effect from playing an attack like Super Witches, which really need to get deployed around the 2-minute mark, and barely reacted, hit that. This is going to be a tough finish.
Yeah, you know, like the combination of the ring style base, this anti-2, where you typically want to try and hold that 1-star defense, but also them coming in with a Super Witch attack that's known for time failing. This could be a good thing for Shuai defensively for the team, but gets a beautiful opening here. We still have the jump for the back end, and yes, it's been time consuming. We didn't get those witches in quite as quickly as we might want to, but once they get going forward, and if we can keep the heroes alive, we have a good push left over for it. Those heroes are really huge in order to save it towards the tail end of the base, because those Super Witches just move extremely slowly. And with the Royal Champ coming in nice and healthy and holding on to the ability, well, she takes a lot of cover from the surrounding defenses. She's in a good spot to try and finish this up, but I'm not convinced with 38 seconds it is going to be enough.
Yeah, unfortunate drop here for React. Tompanai Empire, when they really need this triple to stay far and ahead, are just going to get the 2-star, tying it up now against NY Amazing, and this is exactly what NY have been hoping for out of the gate. Even though they picked up a 1-star in their first attack, they have now got the star tie and are now leading on percentage. This is really an incredible story that is shaping up for them, and the opportunity to topple an Empire. NY Amazing are going to be in the leading position now, where they have to start out with the 5th attack before their opponents. But
that's not going to be an unconfident spot. Is that a word, unconfident? They will probably still be confident despite that, given that they... Oh, I'm getting a little mess up here on my camera. Despite that fact, they could get a triple here and win it all. And so I think that that's all the reason that they need, all the motivation that they deserve to try to drill in hard and finish this off.
Yeah, so Woody, you have little faith. You know, you've been second guessing, you've been doubting the possibility of this. And look at where we're at. We've got NY Amazing now, 10-10 against Tompanai Empire, despite the 1-star start that they had. And they're up considerably on percentage. Tompanai need a defense. If there's no 2-star incoming from NY Amazing, it's done for Tompanai. So this
Lady
has been
B, how do I atone? How do I apologize? What can I do? What can I say? I have little faith. And yet I still think Top and I have got a really good chance to win this. You know, NY Amazing are tipping the scales back, but it ain't over until it's over. Top and I Empire just need a defense and a 3-star, and it's still in the bag. So I guess the win condition here for NY Amazing now is a 2-star from both teams or a 3-star from them. So all signs really pointing to NY Amazing with the upper hand, but Top and I Empire with the right to respond could still potentially get this if we see a 2-star out the gate.
They certainly could. So pressure's on Shuai. Came in with a great defense, just needs to follow up strong with the 3-star, and opting to go with the Queen Charge Lalo. We're actually seeing a lot of success rate with Queen Charge Lalos these days. Nice to see that these Queen Charges are coming back to the mix, and particularly Lalo, that we're seeing like a lot of reward coming in for Lalo attackers. Beautiful entry for the Queen leading towards a Town Hall, but we've got the opening to the multi as well, it looks like, to set the King in, which is going to help ensure that the Queen stays path to the Town Hall, but also eliminating a huge component for the Loons. With the Royal Champ coming in, I would love to see her go for the multi in the center, but she's not lined up for it. So we'll see how he actually places the jump to work this Queen through. Ooh, King going for it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, an aggressive play here. Going to be charging straight in. That King really going to sacrifice a lot in the center, but does it get rewarded? Stone Slammer out the left lane, and that is exactly the sort of play I want to see from Shuai on the last strike, knowing that the 3-star is so super necessary, making his play and putting it all on the line. He's going to get the Town Hall pretty confidently with this Archer Queen, so it's not even much of a sacrifice to throw away the Siege Machine up top with a Lava Loon component added directly next to it. Positioning is a little bit awkward for this Grand Warden, and he did have to pop the Eternal Tome early, but there's not a whole lot of defenses left in it. It's looking like Shuai is on his way to the 3-star and a victory for NY Amazing.
Yeah, that Warden coming in with the King was everything in this raid, giving the King the opportunity to take on the center of the base, allowing the Queen the opportunity to just beat through the wall. He knew that she could actually take that on, and just risking those Loons, but is it really a risk when you have the Stone Slammer that you're throwing into the mix there, especially when the Royal Champ comes in to support, because she was already supported by the Warden and the King from the initial push of this base. Now 35 seconds left to go. Queen still got her ability. He's got so much left over with this, with a Rage Invisibility spell and a Freeze. Oh my goodness, 3-star all day long. There was no question once that King worked through the core that Shuai was not going to capitalize off of this. So NY Amazing. I don't want to say I told you so, but you know, you can turn around these wars sometimes from 1-stars, Woody.
I guess you can. Even a 1-star turnaround is possible for some of these clans. NY Amazing proving that it's not too far of a task to ask of them. But this has got to be an embarrassment. Such a super huge drop for Tompanai Empire, which never really took a loss on any of their attacks. I mean, 3-star, 3-star, and then 2 2-stars in a row. And yet somehow on the percentage fails for those 2-stars, still nonetheless are going to be so far behind now that they don't have the opportunity to get that reverse. So Michael DP, hopeless now for Tompanai Empire, just trying to stack whatever he can up on the board to try to salvage out this loss and convince the fans out there that Tompanai Empire are still a team worthy of being rooted for.
They are. Tom and I's actually been in this position where they recovered a War Against 11 original from a 1-star from them as well. So they know that this is actually easy to, maybe not easy to do, but it is a definite possibility, especially with any kind of team at this level. So Michael coming in with the Dragons. Now, I noticed that he's bringing in this clone, and this is always my fun thing to watch here because we get this massive spread out of loons. Typically, though, we're actually even seeing minions coming to the mix these days that are getting cloned up. I don't know that that's going to be the approach. Typically, the loons seem the more obvious option and the more simplified option to come in, especially with this deep push right over the town hall.
Big heavy strike on the town hall, but not going to get the attraction on there just quite yet. A little bit of a twirl around from the tornado, and those balloons are just going to get obliterated by the poison spell out here now, and the bomb going off. Still, Michael DP holding out hope that these dragons can make it along the bottom edge. They've got an air defense and a big scatter shot to have to contend with in that bottom compartment, but still might nonetheless be able to get off easy with a pickup here. I don't know. That's a lot of dragons still left here. What do you make of it, Lady B?
It's a lot of dragons still left. He did not get the value out of the cloned loons that he would have liked to have seen, but them working on the outside here isn't a terrible thing as long as the Royal Champion can really help and support. We do have 2 freezes to actually help hold this off, give her that fighting chance getting through the scatter shot compartment, and it was an easy power through the defending RC, so that just gives her the extra leg up, and it's this regenerative health. I talked about it before. I love watching them wait for that Royal Champion to go as low as possible so she can get that final leg in, give her just a little bit more of a boost, and get the most value out of that Seeking Shield as possible. And even with that, I mean, is it going to be enough? We've got the Expo, we've got the multi there in the core with the storage actually defending it, but we don't even have that much time left over. Ooh, and a mine all the way up top.
Loss out on the final end, and what a finish for Tampanai Empire. A clan that got 2 triples to begin with, but is just going to barely be able to grab this 3-star. Actually, no, won't grab it, like you mentioned. There's the gold mine up there, so unfortunate finish for Michael DP. And yet, it's these 2 stars with the really super high percentages, 98%, that seem to be the order of the day for Tampanai Empire, a squad that isn't really throwing away, even when they lose. But it's just getting kind of those narrow misses. So a near miss here, and grateful victory, I'm certain, from NY Amazing to advance them onto the semis for tomorrow. That leaves them right there alongside Space Station, QSFN, and ready to go up against either Nishang Dance or Carnage Gaming for the final blow out coming next.
Yeah, that I'm excited to see. Nishang Dance, Carnage Gaming, 2 incredible teams. So I think everyone we've seen has been absolutely incredible so far, especially keeping these as close as they have and seeing some great defenses coming into the mix for today, Woody.
Yes, indeed, Lady B. That is going to be it for that war, but one final round remains. NY Amazing taking the pickup here and showing us a wide range of abilities. Super bowlers showing up in style, getting pickups as well with some fun and frenzied attack strategies. Super witches made an appearance in this last war, and I just wonder what you make of the changes overall in the meta before we send this off.
We are seeing a lot of variety, which I think is key to a healthy balance. It does help out with base building a little bit more, especially when you don't have one particular attack strategy just dominating over the others. And we have seen a little bit of a drop down for drag riders, which really helps bring more opportunities into the mix for these hybrids and, the super bowlers, which is really nice to see in as well. So it's giving more defensive opportunity, which is why we're seeing just a lot of switch in the air. So it's in a good spot. I'm liking where we're getting to see it, but I'm not quite sure what to expect from this next matchup.
Well, since we've got another match coming up, let's go take a look at the bracket real quick. We'll see where the rest of these teams are going to be lying for their final war here. Space Station, QSFN, and NY Amazing, as we mentioned before, advancing victoriously into the semifinals for tomorrow, but it's just Nishang Dance and Carnage Gaming, the last 2 that remain. Big, well-known squads here. I'd say Nishang Dance has probably got the notoriety advantage here and maybe even the skill advantage over Carnage Gaming, but it is anyone's war and could finish out with a surprise conclusion we'll have to see as that gets started up shortly, Lady B.
We certainly will. And Carnage Gaming is another team that, we know has the opportunity for the World Championships. They'll be playing in the Last Chance qualifiers. So maybe a little bit of mystery that they want to keep hidden here, but they still want to make their way through. So we'll have to see what happens in this next match to come, but you'll get to see it right after this short break.
Howdy y'all and welcome back to Clash Masters. Our second season is just about over. We are in our final qualifier and it is the last quarterfinal match of the day. Wow, Lady B, we have already seen some amazing wars so far with Space Station taking a narrow victory over 8 alternate attacks, QSFN picking up the win over Hagura Metal, and now NY amazing for the reverse sweep over Tompanai Empire. Nishang Dance and Carnage Gaming are going to close us out for the day, and we have got an incredible storyline built up around both of these squads. What do you make of it in just the few short hours, the calm before the storm that we have now?
Oh, this is, these are two very well-known teams, definitely to the World Championship circuit and just to many other competitive leagues that we have around. So this is anyone's war at this point, but they're going to really have to step it up to really heat up and finish off our day strong after what we've actually witnessed. There have been so many ups, so many downs, highs and lows, and switcheroos that, I don't know what we can expect to even outdo what we've already seen.
Well, I'll be sure to ask you if I think I see another switcheroo on the horizon, because I know that you've got an eye for those. But with this last war coming up between Nishang Dance and Carnage Gaming, two squads that aren't yet on that leaderboard, that haven't yet gotten their positioning, that really need to go all the way in this qualifier if they want to get out to the playoffs. Which team do you expect to have the upper hand?
This is a really tough one because Carnage Gaming they're a team that I could see really taking down any of the top teams. They've got Hugo Stiglitz in their lineup, former MCES player from the 2019 team that was a Vice World Champions. And they've done a lot of great work together this year, just making the team jive. But Nishang Dance just has such a long history, and I think for many teams they could be the hardest ones to have to fight against because you never know what they're actually going to bring to the table, and they come in with these lightning fast attacks as well. So I would say maybe the edge up would go to Nishang Dance in my mind. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say so as well. Carnage Gaming have got a lot going for it, but they're a relatively new team, I think, compared to Nishang Dance, which have been in the competitive scene for years now. Carnage Gaming ascendant and doing some really great work, picking up some incredible talent, as you noted with Hugo Stiglitz there, one of the world's finalists from the past, but not necessarily getting a convincing lead yet in my mind. It's going to be Wavy Bone from AS Monster, the AKA Nishang Dance team. That will be starting off with a broad swath of spells here for this Zap Quake Lalo.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure who Wavy Bone is, so I don't know where I am with my prediction now on this one. But yeah, this Nishang Dance family definitely a strong one, and we typically, even if it's not the top name hitters that we know, we'll often see some amazing work coming into the mix. So we do kick this off by sending in the blimp. We get the Town Hall taken down, but we also get the CC lure into a nice dark corner where there's very limited damage for the queen to have to take on, so she can go back into the rest of this nice and full health and reserve that ability as long as possible. Nice use of the Skelly spells. We're seeing this more and more on our hero entries just to distract some of the oncoming damage to give even more value, either for the king who would be doing the tanking, or in this case, the golem, so he could get deeper inside the base.
Freezes off with a great shot there as the Ice Golem pops and shuts down defenses on the right corner, especially important for a queen who's not only lacking healers, but also is facing off against a Tesla farm in that right corner, protecting that scatter shot and these big skeleton traps going off. Wavy Bone might have taken a big hit, but is going to keep on swinging with this queen on the right side, really only having to worry about a wizard tower and an archer tower now, trying to get top to back off with a unicorn out in front, but a little bit of extra damage thanks to those archers right alongside her. So she will go down, but ultimately that was a very successful queen charge in my book, and oh my goodness, still even going to survive out here and let the unicorn try to swap off with the rest of the troops on the outer edge.
Yeah, that unicorn could do some work for the warden, and I'm actually seeing in chat, thanks to Kian, that this is actually LP. Wavy Bone is one of his alt accounts. So not surprised that we're actually seeing the Lalo. He's been switching it up. We've seen these really crazy kind of like full hero dive hog attacks coming in from him, but they were time failing. So he switched back over to these Lalos, which he is exceptional at. And you can see from the value from the heroes, the pathing of the loons that he has working along, that he's in a really good spot, though. Unfortunately, a little bit of bypass over that wizard tower is going to force a bit of a pushback, and he's going to have to try and hold on to these freezes and the haste, but he really needs them to get through into the scattershot and wizard tower compartment. But it is a ground bow, so that won't be the end of the world. It's just any possible traps that could be along the way, which are right there in the scattershot compartment.
Oh, no. Catches the traps he was hoping not to see, and it's going to be a tricky run through the scatter shot on the final end. Fortunately, though, Wavy Bone has kept the distraction off that big army of troops. They do path right on in, finish it off, and I think that this is going to be going well after all, even though it was a really tricky finish. That little tiny number of help for the Grand Warden is going to be enough to keep him up and alive and out of range of this wizard tower as they get the final snipe for the kill. 3-star for Wavy Bone. It could not have been much closer than that in the end, though. So congrats to Viking on a well-designed base, but not going to be able to get the victory after all.
Who by the skin of his teeth, but that's all that matters. He got the 3-star, got it done. And, you know, that wasn't maybe the cleanest Lalo I've seen from LP, but really did handle it well. And sometimes that's all that matters is how you can recover, especially knowing that there were so many traps there. They were waiting for this Lalo to pass through, and he just managed to survive long enough to pull in that 3-star. So 0.1 so far for Nishang Dance, but we'll have to see how Carnage is going to fight back. They do bring a lot of variety to the table, which I think is nice, and I don't know where Nishang Dance is going to go with that defensively, but knowing that LP is on their team, he's seen Carnage Gaming. He's playing against them, so he would know how to try and defend. Fabian coming in with the Super Pekka Smash. And I like this. I love this combination for the Super Pekka Smash. The long line drive with the log launcher. So we work from pretty far side of the exterior, picking up some flank damage, like the scatter shot, sometimes the multis in any case. And the Warden's got an easy path to do it. We just have to be mindful of the time, but there's really not a lot obstructing him from getting this down and getting everything going right above that 2-minute mark.
All right, bit of a slow start for Fabian here. He's holding on to a log launcher, though, so that is a great value against a base that we see as designed like this with lots of tight compartments on the interior. Expect to see that coming down in from around the 7 or 8 o'clock position to try to support this Grand Warden as they will probably collapse on the far side and go for that Eagle Artillery early on. Hold on, though. We've got a sneaky Tesla farm that pops up right when Fabian expected at least. It's going to be a lot of zap damage over here on this Grand Warden. Luckily, the Archer Queen can reach over the walls and nab it, but that Grand Warden's getting awfully low. Losing a healer as well to a Seeking Air Mine. A second one goes down! The third one goes down! The Seeking Air Mine's prediction by IU of AS Monster is in fact going to be so decisive in shutting down Fabian's stab.
Yeah, losing these healers is detrimental to this kind of raid, but he's been able to at least save the Warden, looking to clip this ability as he makes his way through into the core. This is going to be a bit slowed down because we've got the Ice Golems in the core of the base, and this means they can take on a lot of damage. Everything coming in will just get frozen up in its radius while the oncoming damage fires away, but it's still going strong for now, but the Queen still needs to hold on to this ability. He's still got a long way to go to get to this town hall and get that taken down.
My. Fabian, can you do it? Less than a minute remains, but holding on to the Queen ability now has popped the Royal Champ ability and has only got 2 more compartments left to finish off. Jump Spell ought to be able to get him over and above that edge and gets the 2nd star there now with the Town Hall finished off. Can they nab this final compartment on the bottom side and get the cleanup done? There's actually quite a bit of damage left to be done along the top side, and thankfully for Fabian, he's brought a wizard to start working on that. Yet he's going to hop over the wall, and the last freeze is down to save him from the fearsome firing arrows of that Archer Tower. The triple is all but secured with plenty of time now to get the last leg finished off. Those poor heroes have had a tough run of it, Lady B, but they are going to survive till the end after all, and this is the confident triple.
And losing those healers, losing so many from the start. And he even held on to one to try and bring it in fresh, which kind of helped out with that, but is the Warden ability. Warden ability clipping everything, keeping it alive and well, and giving him just enough towards the back end to finish that off. It was mighty close, but the same happened in the first attack. So these two teams know that the pressure is on and are really handling it well to avoid any possible slip-ups and just really carry those 3 stars home.
Well, congrats there to both Nishang Dance and Carnage Gaming. A hard and heavy, large entry point for both of them. The triples up on the board, claimed confidently. A bit of a turnaround based upon the prior showings, which have actually been a little bit weak on the early war here. We have finally got 2 squads that are ready to go toe-to-toe right out of the gate and are blazing out strong. So let's see how As the Moon, or rather AS the Moon, will finish up next for Nishang Dance. It's going to be a double Ice Hound strike here. With a little bit of Yeti poke in the bottom right to start off the funneling here. Shouldn't be too difficult of a funneling job, but gonna have to commit that Barbarian King to the bottom right compartment. Maybe with access to the enemy Eagle Artillery, though, this is a really good pickup for the Moon.
Yeah, and using, again, the skellies to help provide some distraction that's giving the king more opportunity to work his way a little bit deeper inside the base. I'm looking to see if there's a jump or another wall break that can charge a queen into the core, but we do have the blimp to take on the town hall, and the royal champ actually helping to cut a little bit more pass here, taking down the scatter shots huge. We've taken down two really big components in this, but it's not going to be enough to actually break our way through the center of the base. There's no heal here, so we'll have to see how he's going to play his cards with this one to just get the right lalo push and ensure that the multi-targeting inferno goes down without losing too many loons.
First minute out of here now, but a big chunk off that right side. And take a look at that one little Winion. Going to get a shot over at the Dark Elixir storage as well. Good value there on the cleanup. And a heavy entry now on the bottom as the Battle Blimp will go soaring on in. Expect to see that Warden tome popped right at the corner. No, in fact, going to hold on to it for a little bit later in the strike, hoping maybe to get those loons to path along to the top left side and avoid even more splash damage, or perhaps in the center. Multi-target Inferno is starting to heat things up, and is he waiting to try to get this Grand Warden to protect the dragon as well? Why is this Warden ability coming in so late, Lady B?
This Warden's coming in so late because he used the blimp for the center of the base, and he's leaving the loons to make their pass to the town hall. This is such a risky move coming in because look how many loons he doesn't have left over. Tries to rage up what is there, and the Warden wasn't even working with them. Focused right there in the center with the dragon, trying to surround this one. One more rage, one more haste, but it's all for naught because there's nothing to actually take down this town hall. Woody, Moon, his risky play did not pay off. I was not expecting to see that blimp go for the core because it seemed like not the safest move to do. And this could cost AS Monster, Nishang Dance. This could really do them in if Carnage Gaming start getting in those 3 stars and pulling them forward. Though we've seen it. They can turn it around. It's happened. I would just be really worried.
Not again. Not again. Devastation in my book. I don't see how you can, spin a 1-star like this for Nishang Dance as being anything but just the worst possible result in the second attack. This is not the same thing as our previous war either, where you saw a 1-star kind of get followed up with a couple of triples and then turn it around toward the late war. We are already in a really tight dance between these two, tied up on triples to start out with. And as you said before, Carnage Gaming is a squad that you can never underestimate, that you can not really afford any slip up against. So with, the feared Hugo Stiglitz still out there and a 3-star to start with, I think that this is going to be the death knell for Nishang Dance. They'll be having to struggle just as NY Amazing did before them to try to make it over the top. And there's an opening, there's a possibility, but there's a reason why 1-stars are so widely feared among attackers. And it's because even if you do get a really good follow-up out here, it's so incredibly difficult to summit that hill and get back over ahead of a Carnage Gaming squad with a fantastic defense showing up.
Yeah. They just have to double up on the defense now. And like you said, Hugo Stiglitz, he's waiting in the wings. I was thinking he would be a great follow-up for this to try and give the power, but maybe he's the one that they want to try and hold off a little bit later when, if there's any pressure on them. So T2N we have coming in with the Queen Charge, Log Launcher, Drag Rider, the one I always worry about 1-stars, but it is still a very powerful strategy. Now we start this off working our pass around the Town Hall, and we're going to want to see some good value out of that long launcher, so we just have to get a longer, further away push for the Queen, but she can really shape this up, and this is going to navigate what she needs to actually set her tone, especially in such a wide chamber, to get her pushing in the proper course. Although, could we get more value out of it from the King? No, she's already wall breaked her way in. We don't need this log launcher for her. She's got this big, chunky, open compartment now that she can do on her own. So let's see if he switches this up or uses it to help the King just a little bit more.
I'd be surprised to see the King get that much of a boost. A log launcher really is a massive commitment on that siege machine to try to really pierce in deep a big army, and bringing Dragon Riders, which of course can fly over the walls. You wouldn't expect to see that happen. It is a swap out to the Stone Slammer now, as you mentioned, good pivot here for Tituan, who didn't need that additional log launcher value and is instead going to get to rely more heavily on sky-based damage, getting the drop on the Eagle Artillery nice and early on here. Well protected. Grand Warden is sitting right next to those Dragon Riders and ready to stop any incoming damage. Eternal Tome popped off at the perfect timing, and the funneling is just flawless here for Tituan.
It's such a nice use of the Royal Champion cutting across the center of the base, taking on those multis, keeping the path nice and clean for these Drag Riders. And that Stone Slammer is always just that nice extra tank that comes through, keeping the Drag Riders alive. Great value as well. Like everything he's doing here, multitasking left and right, keeping that Queen alive with the invisibility spell. He took the focus of the Expo off so that the Queen can actually meet up at the back end and try and help pick off some of these remaining defenses. This is looking like a beautiful start to the lead. Maybe not even start, but continuation to the lead for Carnage Gaming that could be unpassable for Nishang Dance.
Knock it down and claim it. Tituan gets another 3-star for Carnage Gaming, up to 6 now and a 2-star lead in the early war. This is what we were looking for, but I guess if I were to sit back and try to be, objective about this and give them a shot, this is also the same start, I think, that we saw in our previous war between NY Amazing and Top and I Empire, a 4-6 start that eventually did tip out into be NY Amazing's favor. So not quite the end of it, but it does basically require triples all across the board now. Or some really significant 2-star drops, or even a 1-star from Carnage Gaming, which highly unlikely to happen. I get the sense that I think that this is more of a big deal than a lot of other casters do, because I don't hear them talking about it very often. Being the team to respond in Carnage Gaming's position, the second to attack, especially when they are in the lead, they don't have to take any big risks. They don't have to worry about going for some insane long bomb log launcher or a battle blimp, across the entirety of the map, trying to make it all the way to the town hall, or doing some kind of wild and crazy, weird, late Super Witch deploy that kind of cuts it down to the wire, edging out with barely a second at the end. They can take reliable, more stable, stronger, just Queen Charge Dragon Rider, bread and butter type of hits, and not have to risk it all out there. So I think the lead for Carnage Gaming, I know I'm kind of filibustering at this point, but the lead for Carnage Gaming in a follow-up position is just so much better than we saw in the previous war or in kind of any others, that I think that this is the most clear and convincing advantage that any team has had so far in the Clash Masters early war.
It is, because they know exactly what they need to do in order to get it. Now, like that response position isn't always the best option when your opponent comes in with a strong start, but with a 1-star, this puts them in a really good spot. Now, beautiful opener here. We see the CC taken down very, very quickly. The super minions, yes, we have to contend with, but an easy push for those dragons to take along. An early clip of this Warden ability is helping these loons just to try and push our way a little bit deeper through inside the space, where we ideally want to pick up as many traps as possible. Don't see too many of them working through. And unfortunately, this is not pathing where Monster wants it to go. This is going to be a tough spot, because these dragons have completely bypassed the center of the base, which was the whole point of eliminating the town hall and starting off that funnel from the 12 o'clock side.
2 freezes yet remain for this dragon army, but the pathing has just gone nowhere near according to plan here. Dragons on the outer edge, not able to support the Dragon Riders on the interior. They do manage to get that topside multi-inferno down, but I don't think there's any shot at getting the additional multi down. They're relying just basically solely on a Queen who's unsupported by healers now, and just firing away at a wall that's going to get her absolutely nowhere in this base. Does it take out an air sweeper there, but is attracting the attention of some skellies, and with the ability forced out now is going to have to face off against an enemy Royal Champion. Not entirely bad news, though. I guess she does get the kill there with that ability used, and pathing along to the outer edge now with that multi-target down after all. Does lose a dragon out there, and the 2 that still stand up are pretty low health. Archer Tower is about to take one of them down. It's not an impossibility, but oh, hold on. There were actually 2 on the bottom side. Hang on.
Yeah, we've got the dragon. Yeah, dragons working together. I don't know that they're stacked on the bottom side of the base. It looks like there's just one there, but that wizard tower distraction, the Queen coming in to snipe it off, is perfect, because this gives it what it needs. He's got the Warden very low health. I think this dragon's pretty low health, but there's no more defenses to worry about. So he's in a good spot that, despite despite the pathing went completely awry, is able to pick it up, especially with the queen walking her way through those openings in the walls. Even if we saw the dragons and wardens die out, she'd be able to finish us off. So they're on the right track. I was not convinced with that scatter shot up, but the queen came in to save the day.
Well, color me surprised. I am very impressed by how that finished off there. And I think that the thing I didn't notice was that there was an extra dragon on the bottom side that I thought that I saw one at low health. I was about to go down. I figured that there wasn't going to be enough to finish off the remaining defenses down there at the bottom. But there was another one, I guess, hiding behind it, or that I hadn't noticed. And so, yeah, an entire dragon can make a lot of difference when you're pushing it in the 90s percentage for cleanup at the outer edge. With an Archer Queen also able to put some more pressure on there. Maybe I really underestimated that offense. So congratulations there to Nishang Dance, grabbing another big chance and making the most of it. You know, they are still way far down in the war overall, but this is the potential for the comeback now, the turnaround that we've seen time and again, I'll say, today. Big switcheroos all around. Do you consider this a switcheroo yet, Lady B?
Not yet, because they're still down. They're still down. You know, they're not out of this comfort zone yet. They need to see some defenses coming in. And once we start seeing that come in, yeah, we'll get closer to the switcheroo. But they need those two solid defenses to make up for the 1-star that they unfortunately just gave away for free. That was like a free start to the war. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like it could be a strategy, not that you would actually give it away, but that they don't worry as much because they know they can easily just flip this.
Okay, well, I think that's well said, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the follow-up comes next for Carnage Gaming. The flip around, perhaps, but not quite the switcheroo. And it won't be a switcheroo, in fact, if Carnage Gaming can keep their 3-star path on even keel. Anonymous will be the first to strike here now, or the next to strike here now, with a wide spread of spells to be able to support this QC Dragon Rider push. 4 rages, in fact, with the CC spells there, but also a couple of invisibilities, something that you don't always see being brought here. Maybe going to plan to use those on the Queen charge in the bottom corner here, especially with a single target Inferno. Might need to be able to protect her out there, but no, going to use a Rage instead for the pop down.
Yeah, so the queen bringing in these extra invisibility spells when we have 2 of them, they're nice options for the heroes. You know, if the queen were to get into a tough position, we can easily use them to help give her what she needs to carry on. But we can also use it for the royal champ coming in towards the back end. And considering we have the 2 scatter shots to worry about, which I assume are actually going to be coming head in on them because that's going to provide the most amount of power out of the warden ability, especially since we have the stone slimer to provide some tanking. You know, that's going to allow the royal champion just a little bit more value in using these invisibility spells if the queen indeed does not need them. But we do have this multi still that has a little bit of a direct path off the course of where we would send in the drag rider. So that's, again, something that we'll want to keep an eye out for and see where we path through.
All right. Anonymous has got a Stone Slammer out on the field now, ready to support these Dragon Riders along the top side. They're going to knock down the enemy queen and have another easy shot at the core of the space. Stone Slammer's getting pushed back a little bit here, but does make it to that scatter shot, and with the drops off, that thing is going down fast. Well-protected queen still out in the back. That's one of my favorite phrases, well-protected. Pops down the enemy skeletons as the trap is not going to get much value for Wavy Bone here on defense, and Anonymous is just collapsing along the inner edge now. An enemy royal champion trying... Oh no, hold on, that's an attacking royal champion. It's going to get some additional value, charging straight through and finishing off the last remaining defenses. This is a clear and convincing triple.
Yeah, use that invisibility actually to help take down the defending RC and giving a last leg for the royal champion just to get more value as a drag rider's full health here. Look at how many he has left over. Working along just gives that extra final push. And even if she hadn't, this queen with her ability would have been able to actually work her way to the outsides. Even with the limited time left, this could have worked out perfectly. So Anonymous is not backing down. Carnage Gaming know that they're in the spot and they need to continue fighting hard to hold on to this 2-star lead.
Well, there it is. I think that we still have a really strong spot here for Carnage Gaming.
that 2-star lead ain't hard to hold on to at this point. Especially the later in the war that you get, the more that advantage is going to matter. Percentage is quite tight, thanks to Nishang Dance being able to keep the damage high, even though they missed out on a couple of stars. But it's going to be Carnage Gaming with really just kind of a smooth sailing on the final rounds. The lowest you'd expect to see from them now is 13 stars, and kind of the highest you'd expect to see from Nishang Dance is 13 stars. So I think that this one is pretty solidly closed out now. With just the tiny, slimmest of hopes for Nishang Dance to get the percentage win, just because they've done so well with the damage in the past.
Yeah, you know, and this is where it really could switch up with the percentages if we see the 2 defenses coming in. That's just more opportunity for a lower percent to get Nishang Dance back in it. So that is pretty much what they're hoping to say. And I still feel that they're more than motivated to try and push us through to the end. But one more 3-star in from Carnage Gaming, and I think that's where you see a little bit of the break in them, because that just means they'll need to save 2-star. But it starts here with Fly trying to pick up the triple, and we do get to see more super bowlers in the mix. So we saw them in the previous matchup and how powerful they actually are. So maybe taking a little bit of a page out of their notebook and looking to provide sample power as well, as the Warden starts shaping up exactly the way that we would see a path go for a super Pekka smash. So very similar style in those smash attacks.
And Fly is getting a nice shape up here. This funneling is just fantastic. Right corner completely obliterated, while the pathing along the bottom side here for this Pekka and Barbarian King are just going to smash through another big compartment, taking down an Eagle Artillery. CC Pulse coming out, though, and it's going to be 3 Ice Golems, a slow down effect. Not too troublesome for a Pekka Smash army, though, which can quite often get to the back end with a little bit of time, quite a bit of time remaining. So more rage in the interior to finish those off and try to overcome that slowdown as the super bowlers are now just going to start striking through and really smacking the entirety of this backside really hard. It's just that single target Inferno that's giving me a little bit of a pause and concern. I do have lots of free spells that I see ready and available to use, and there it comes off with the Eternal Tome to protect them as well. This is just such a perfect execution from Fly. I am really highly impressed.
Yeah, and I say that he wants to hold on to these freezes because he knows that his Royal Champ has to contend with the defending RC and the scatter shot, and if the invisibility wasn't going to be enough, he wanted a backup option. Freezes up that multi in the Expo, trying to get this a fighting leg, but we have lost out a lot. Looking to see if the Queen's even still going on the board here. We've got the Warden at least helping out with the Bowler, and the Electro Owl. 46 seconds left to go. If they don't pick up this triple, this is going to be their undoing at this point. And with the Warden going down, there's not going to be enough to support this. That Electro Owl, even though there's no air targeting defenses left up as I'm looking through. There is the Archer Tower that's pinging away at him. Even if that wasn't there, there wasn't going to be enough time for him to get it done alone.
Unfortunate there for Nishang Dance, missing out on their one crucial needed triple. Carnage Gaming have got such an incredible, powerful lead now that it is basically a foregone conclusion that they'll be moving on. Nishang Dance, with this dropout, didn't have enough leaderboard points to be able to get a spot in the playoffs. So it's going to be the hopes for the last chance qualifier for them now, moving on for next week. And we do want to remind everyone out there that if you're interested in participating in Clash Masters as well, as we hope that you are, that there's an opportunity to get the sign up over on our Twitter page. You can find that at Clash Masters, where we can get you links to our Discord server, where all the rules and sign up information is available. If you like seeing what you've witnessed so far, this is a $20,000 prize pool event, a huge offering for a community league here in Clash Masters, the biggest and best that I've seen, and I'm really happy to see how this shapes up with our final weeks just coming up ahead. It's really kind of setting the stage for the World Finals in Clash of Clans Esports. What happens here in Clash Masters shapes the storylines going down the road and gives us a really good glimpse into what to expect from the teams later on. So there is no better place to be watching and competing if you're interested in Clash of Clans Esports than here and now.
And, you know, Carnage Gaming definitely showing that they've been putting the work into it. They're starting to build that confidence, and they just need to play it safe now. These 2 stars are going to help connect them to the victory with a massive lead that they've actually been able to hold. And they've been actually getting a lot of practice. They're playing an ESL Mobile Open, and that's, I think, where they're really seeing the confidence boost, especially going up against some big name teams and giving them just that opportunity to go up against the heavy competition that you, of course, will face here as well in Clash Masters. But Hugo Stiglitz, this is a moment we've been waiting for him not only to come in, but to come in with the Hogs. Now, Queen Charge to set this one off. Great use of the blimp to also shape up the path that's going to lead her directly to the Town Hall compartment. Should have enough meat to move to that side, and yes, indeed, she does. So we'll just need to start shaping up a little bit more once she gets her path to the Town Hall. For the Hogs, we want to drop down the King just to keep that continuation going.
A little bit of a nice coconut loon out here on the right side. Could have helped out with the mortar, but the Queen got to it first. It'll path on into the interior and give even safer of an option here for this healer setup, which unfortunately doesn't get the rage right out of the gate, but will be able to top off that Queen after all. Hugo Stiglitz, the feared, the mighty, the Frenchman on offense, is diving into this Town Hall compartment with a freeze as well, ready to shut down that single target. No fear, Cavalier. He is going to be steering clear of any difficult defenses with spell usage and healers ready to get this offense topped off. But it's the Hogs now ready to make their entry point. A big offensive army in the bottom left side of this base is going to get supported with an early Eternal Tome. And he's only got 1 heal spell, but an Invis and 2 freeze is going to be really good for a heads-up play on the back side of this base, Lady B.
This was not the charge I was expecting, but this was absolutely beautifully funneled and exactly something that you can only expect coming in from Hugo Stiglitz. So I just want to point that out, that I love that angle of the Queen charge that he came in on. Not an easy one to actually do. The Hogs really powerfully working through the base with a Royal Champion supporting behind. Now, she's worked through her ability, but as soon as that scatter shot goes down, that was the last worry in the world for this attack, especially knowing that the Queen has survived the Town Hall. He's got the invisibility to help hold on, and even just that extra wall breaker, super wall breaker, to give a little damage to the outside items. But I think that was a little bit more swag, Woody. That 3-star for Hugo Stiglitz, certainly securing what Carnage Gaming needed to take this victory over Nishang Dance.
Well, hats off to him. Very happy to see this victory now confirmed on the 4th attack. They can kind of rest easy now. You know, that's the position that I like to be in when I'm a competitor. Back in my day, playing you know, all these esports titles, but never in such a dominant spot as Carnage Gaming has been right now. It is so perfectly positioned for a perfect war now against a Nishang Dance squad that has done well, but not really measured up to their abilities, I'd say. I think Nishang Dance is an incredibly talented team that I think I actually expected to get the tip-off over Carnage Gaming in this war. But leading off and grabbing a 1-star early on just let them in a lurch. And I think that Carnage Gaming, not only confidently going to be advancing on, has got a really excellent spot to try to get a spot in the playoffs. If they take first place, this is still a wide open playoff positioning for all these teams based upon how they do this week.
Yeah, and Carnage Gaming coming in, they've gone perfect so far. They've been able to hold these 3 stars so strong that they're looking to go for that final perfect war to capitalize over Nishang Dance. And I think any team would need to start worrying about that looking into tomorrow's matchup. And they're going to have to face off against NY Amazing, which is sister team to this Nishang Dance family as well. So that's going to actually be an interesting one and some opportunity for maybe a little family revenge in the mix-up. Let's see if Monster can finish off strong again. An unfortunate start for them with the 1-star that they've been unable to recover from, with Carnage Gaming going perfect at this point and looking to finish this off. More Hog action, which I love to see. Queen Charge to work her way towards the Town Hall. And I noticed we have a blimp in the mix. What we're often seeing is these blimps just shaping up what the Queen needs. But I like that he's not wasting any time, doesn't start it off from the start, gets a Queen going, because this really is a huge time saver in the end.
Yeah, time can sometimes be a factor for these Hog Rider hits, especially if you lose a lot of Hog Riders early on and aren't able to keep the healers up for that Archer Queen. But I think that maybe the bigger concern right now is just going to be for the funneling of these Hog Riders. We've got a big gash over on the right side of the base now carved out and need even additional support now from a Rage spell to get this Queen back in the safe spot. It's going to be a forced out ability, unfortunately, for the Nishang Dance squad, but still have got a lot of firepower left to bring to bear, and my goodness, the giant bombs exploding over on the top lane is no good news to the Hog Riders. Another spring trap going to trigger up there, but still have got a solid shot at the triple. Nice freeze in the Town Hall there, Lady B.
Yeah, not ideal to see those giant bombs, but great intuition, dropping that heal perfectly to keep those hogs encompassed. And of course, holding on to this warden ability as we make our way into the core. This is what I was really worried about. The only unfortunate thing is that we don't actually have an opening for the king to work through into the scatter shot. He's going to have to beat through the wall to get this taken down, which just veers the course of the hogs a little bit more. One good thing that he's done, though, is distract the scatter shot so the hogs still have that power to work through, and he will be able to come in with enough health to finish it off, especially with the Royal Champion here to come in for the assist.
Big Royal Champion shield knocking down every single defense in sight. Nishang Dance may not get the win in this war, but at least they can wrap it up with their heads held high on a confident triple. AS Monster is the name. Nishang Dance, the broader organization claiming ownership of this spot in Clash Masters quarterfinals, but with this third week wrapping up and the points accumulated by them now locked away, it's the best that they can do to hope for a 0-star result, I guess, from the next strike. Otherwise, even a single star means that Carnage Gaming will lock away the victory as well as the spot in the semifinals.
Yeah, we just pray for no McDonald's Wi-Fi. We hope that they're they have a good connection here, that they'll actually get the attack through to get that 1 star on the board.
What are you saying about McDonald's, Lady B? Lady B. Missing out, throwing away any hope for a McDonald's sponsorship in the future. I guess you're a Burger King lady. Is that right, Lady B?
Yeah, that's where I go for my Wi-Fi is Burger King, of course.
Okay.
Home of the Whopper, home of the Wi-Fi, you know. But
all right,
this could put them in.
Yeah, go ahead.
This could put them in a very easy spot. You know, the fact that you only have to come in, just find the town hall and go, or pick up the percentage, the 50% mark, just really solidifies a solid position. If you were given, like, from the start to finish of this matchup, we're seeing them just being handed this opportunity, the 2-star lead from the start, and they've gone perfect so far. So they've really, they've helped themselves to it.
Queen charge in the bottom left corner gets those healers to support, and a little bit of sneaky sweeping with that balloon as well, trying to find a Seeking Air Mine. Didn't catch one, but Viking, who we saw in defense earlier on, get that amazing 1-star with that fantastic base design, is now going to have the final say in this war. 1 star for the win, and this is already starting off really well for him. A beautiful little bit of funneling on the outer edge for this Queen Charge Dragon Rider army. Interesting, though, that Viking has only brought 4 Dragon Riders for this attack. That's going to be an even heavier complement of cleanup than we usually see with the 5 Dragon Riders. He's got a dozen minions and even 5 balloons to kind of stack along the outer edge, maybe trying to expect for some air sweeping out here to try to catch a Seeking Air Mine.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about those healers, but Queen quickly getting things back under control, taking down that AD, no stall on it, so she can work her way in, take on the town hall compartment. And I really like this. I like the pathing, the navigation like this, because it does direct the Queen in a perfect spot, not only to take on the town hall, but ideally we just want to keep her focused to the outskirts. So we've really directed her path and try and keep her positioned outside of that poison bomb once the town hall does go down. But looking at this opening, we're getting a little bit of a connection towards the scattershot compartment. And I'm not sure if that's just to get the Queen lined up to actually work in there, since the King is on the north side of the base, working to the Eagle. And the scattershot's just going to veer everything in course right to the center of the base. So yes, indeed, the Queen has the opening to the scattershot, really eliminating a lot of potential damage coming in for those drag riders on the back end.
Yeah, nice start here, but it is a little bit slow, I've got to say. Just 1 minute remaining and a lot left to do on this base. 40% still up. However, Carnage Gaming has secured victory with that 60% 2-star already and might yet just get this triple after all. Royal Champion gets a heroic stab against a single target Inferno, taking that down. Even with the ability already popped, she is getting magnificent value. A few minions on the left edge are going to get some additional cleanup work done as Viking gets the final drops here on the top side for going the distance. The last compartment to defend is going to have an air defense that is just completely impotent against the might of an Archer Queen, knocking it down before it can even fire away at these balloons and Dragon Rider. The cleanup is all but guaranteed now. Even with such little bit of time, they are going to get the job done. Viking from Carnage Gaming, a triple on the final strike, gets the perfect war for a squad to be feared in the semis tomorrow.
You say the job done, and this is a perfect war. This is absolutely incredible for Carnage Gaming and just showing the might and the power that they have as a team that has worked collectively together this year to try and just stake a claim into the World Championship Finals and getting this opportunity now in ClashMSTRS stage to showcase how strong they are indeed.
Well, you love to see it. A convincing finish with the most powerful possible start. Perfect war, and that's all there is to say. I think we're going to get ready to close this out now by taking first a look at the bracket to see where all four of these teams yet still remain for the semifinals tomorrow. And then we can also talk a little bit about the positioning on the leaderboard for these teams and the opportunities that they have to try to advance on. So here now is the bracket advancement for Space Station, QSFN, NY Amazing, and Carnage Gaming into the semis, Lady B.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting matchup for tomorrow. Space Station Gaming, QSFN, two very strong teams. They proved that today. And QSFN, one of those teams that rides on percentage. We see them coming really close, but they dominated this afternoon. Now, NY Amazing, part of that Nishang Dance family, is going to have the opportunity to defend the clan family name honor against Carnage Gaming, who just swept through with that perfect war in victory. But I don't know, Carnage Gaming is coming off on this high. This is going to be spectacular to watch tomorrow. I am sure excited, and I will be tuning in to watch, I think, you and Carbon to kick that off.
Exciting finish for tomorrow, and hey, why don't we go ahead and take a look at what is up for grabs? Y'all already know about this $20,000 prize pool that we have for ClashMSTRS Season 2. But in addition to that, the points that are available for these teams can now be seen on the leaderboard, which is current and includes all the points accumulated and earned by the teams today in the quarterfinals. There's 7 more points that they can potentially earn tomorrow if they get first place. The teams that still remain here now, Space Station, QSFN, NY Amazing, and Carnage Gaming. You just see Space Station up at the top, guaranteed advancement into the playoffs, but not yet guaranteed a first place spot. They'll be fighting for that right alongside QSFN, their next foes. Whoever wins that battle, I think will probably get the upper hand. It's possible maybe if the points pan out in QSFN's favor, if QSFN wins the war and then wins the whole thing overall, that might be enough points to unseat Space Station. But otherwise, down there on the bottom, Amazing, NY Amazing could take the last spot with a third or better finish tomorrow. And I think that the same can also be said of Carnage Gaming.
Yeah, NY Amazing is actually in a really good... I think it would depend, but NY Amazing isn't a really... No, it's fine.
Oh, I'll tell you.
No, I think they're in a very good spot right now, considering that we don't even see Carnage Gaming on that board at this point. So it could be an easy spin for them to work their way in. But any of those teams that we actually see in it will have the opportunity to work their way through in the last chance qualifiers. And I think from the performances that we've seen, it could easily happen.
Right, you are. And just the last thing I wanted to touch on that was that Carnage Gaming could get the 4th spot if they have a first place finish and NY Amazing go down. So I guess that would be necessary since Carnage Gaming is advancing to play against NY Amazing next. So if Carnage Gaming gets first place, they also have a shot at the top spot to get that playoff spot. So still so much up for grabs. Big discrepancy between the placement for this season and last season when our third qualifier kind of had everything already finalized. This one is still wide open, and there are so many points up for grabs that tomorrow is going to be the crucial moment for these teams to fight. So really looking forward to that and hope that you all will tune in. Again, make sure to follow us here at Clash Masters. Tune in over on our social media pages as well, where you can get more information, giveaways, and all sorts of details about the prizes and Discord servers that you can join to learn more about competing for yourself. That last chance qualifier next week is wide open, and we hope that you will sign up and show up with the biggest, best armies that you've got. But for today, that is going to be it. My name's Woody, and it's been a pleasure casting for Clash Masters. Let's also say thanks to Lady B, and I'll give you the final word as we send it off.
Yeah, good job to these teams today. Definitely bringing the fire, bringing the heat. I can't wait to see more of it to come. So good luck tomorrow. And may that best team get the win and work their way up for the playoffs. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for our production team. And thank you, Woody, for being such a wonderful host and co-caster. We'll see you guys tomorrow.